What's that? Yeah. Well, guilty by association. We'll take it.
Okay, we want to welcome everybody. Look at that. Thanks for coming. Appreciate you being here. Those that are online also to our work session. We're going to have our attorney go through some things now, so we'll turn the time over to him.
All right, so I've got to start out with a story behind this PowerPoint and a shout out to Janet. So back last year when we were talking about doing the Open Meetings Act for the Planning Commission, it's kind of loud. She made some comment that, you know, I would be doing the training and I probably wouldn't have a PowerPoint. And so when I heard that, I thought, oh, I better get a PowerPoint. And so I've readapted the PowerPoint that I did for the Planning Commission, added the closed session discussion, which wasn't really relevant to the Planning Commission. So that's why we even have a PowerPoint, and hopefully it'll be more engaging and less boring than me just pulling up the code and going through the things that I've highlighted. So that being said, if there are questions as we go through, I can quickly jump to the code. I have that pulled up, and then we can go into more details. You already see it there. I was going to ask before we started, does anyone know where it's found in the Utah Code? But 52.4. Yeah, that's where it is. You all knew exactly where to go. But there's certain codes that stick out, like this one, GRAMA, you know, that we see quite a bit. All right, so today we're going to hit transparency, definitions of meeting public bodies, open to the public, closed meeting notice, and then enforcement. So as far as transparency goes, it is called the Open Meetings Act, right? This is something that the legislature, the whole intent of the statute, they lay out at the beginning. Sometimes we talk about statutory intent and we have to guess or go back at committee notes and things to say, well, what did they intend by this law? And we don't have to do that with OPMA because they lay it out and they say, we want you to take your actions and have your deliberations openly. We want the public to be involved, be able to know what's going on, especially when you are making decisions that impact, their land use, for example, the taxes that they pay. They want to be involved in that discussion. And so the legislature makes that very clear at the beginning. So to do that and to maintain that transparency, there are some things that I have gone through and just pointed out that I think are important. So 52.4.208, we're not getting together outside of meetings in a concerted and deliberate way to predetermine an action. So sharing information is fine. A lot of times we get information from the public, from our engineer, our planner, and we need to review that before the meeting because we don't want these meetings to last all the way through the night. So there is some level of preparation, but as soon as you cross that line into the deliberation of that information and saying, well, this is how I'm going to vote, or this is what I'm thinking, now you're predetermining or you're going beyond. It's okay to share the information, and that's not restricted by the act, but as far as letting the public see how you're coming to that determination, that should be reserved for the meeting. Also, one of the negative aspects or things that could be difficult and why we have in our policies and procedures that we don't vote by proxy is you may hear something in the meeting that changes your mind. And so if you're predetermined or you say, hey, I have to catch a flight, but this is how I want to vote on this item, it's not fair to yourself, to the body, or to the public, because you may hear something that changes your mind and you say, oh, I'd never thought of it that way. And so Open Meetings Act, while it is restrictive in some ways, it's better overall because now we're all coming to the same knowledge, the same input that's been given from the public, the same explanations given by the experts that we rely on, whatever it may be, so that now we're all making our decisions that aren't in a predetermined way. Yeah.
Does the legislature have to follow this? Because
I would say
most
yes.
of their, they try to get votes behind closed doors and things like that. Like they know how they're going to vote.
That's a good question.
That's how they get something passed.
I'm not exactly sure because what would be considered a quorum for them, I think, is different, right? So if there's 29 in the Senate, that's 15. Is it still 75 in the House, I think? So.
But I can't pair off with, say, Matt and say, hey, what do you think about this and this? And I'm going to vote this way. I can't do like 2-on-2. Like we can't have that conversation like they can in the legislature.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if this doesn't apply to the legislature or if they don't enforce it on themselves. I'm not sure, because predetermining an action, if you're talking one-on-one with the commissioner and saying, hey, this is how I'm going to vote and this is what I'm going to do, then that does go against the 52.4.208, which is determining ahead of time what you're going to do. Because, and once again, maybe something comes up or you hear an illustration or an example, or you hear how someone says this is how it would be applied, and you're like, ooh, that's not what I want, and you may change your mind. And so I think it also helps us eliminate litigation. For example, if we're meeting with a landowner, a developer, someone ahead of time, and we're like, oh yeah, well, we're going to push this through, or yes, I'm going to, and then you hear something, you change your vote. They're like, well, wait a second, they said they were going to do this. And once again, I don't know if they could be successful in legal action, but it opens the door to say, well, I'm going to go after them legally or politically, maybe through media, social media, whatever it may be. So it's just safer. Kind of that practice pointer at the end, if you're unsure about it, err on the side of transparency. Or if you're saying, well, this might be sensitive, then maybe reach out to me, someone who maybe is here on the ground, like, okay, should we talk about this? And say, oh no, these other things are going on behind the scenes, especially if it's an administrative thing, then it doesn't apply the same way, if that makes sense. Because there are separation of powers, but you hold legislative and executive authority in the same body for the county. And so when you're acting in the executive, the administrative side, well, yeah, you're going to say, what do we do about this internal issue, or this issue we're having with our fleet? You know, these vehicles, we're not bringing everything like that to this body because that's not legislative in nature. That's on the administrative side. So there are some nuances, but if you're unsure, then I would just err on the side of figuring it out before you say something that you can't take back. So yes, be transparent, but not to a fault either. There's maybe that balance somewhere in the middle. Yeah, great point. Any follow-up to that? I will look at the legislature. It makes me curious because I know we've got the session coming up, so that would be interesting.
They use their lobbyists for that.
Yeah. All right. So, and then that last point there, the default is open. So the default is it's open unless you meet a requirement or an exception for when you can close the meeting. All right, so the definition of meeting is the gathering of the public body with a quorum present. So sometimes we just did a selection committee for the public defender RFQ. We had 2 commissioners on that. Some of the meetings that you go to, you've got the 2 commissioners. Usually in those meetings, they're going to be publicly noticed anyway. And so there is that notice requirement that's been given. But with a 5-member commission, you have to have at least 3 for the quorum. And it's convened by the chair, right? That's the individual with authority to convene this body after following the process provided by law and for the express purpose of acting as a public body to receive public comment, deliberate, or take action. So you don't have to have a meeting to receive public comment, because the public, they may reach out to you individually, they may send an email as a group or individually. So you can still receive that, but for the purpose of receiving public comment, we always have the public comment at the beginning, and that's when we're encouraging the public to come and share what's on their mind. Deliberation, though, and taking action, once again, I know that we've said before, okay, maybe you're one of 5, you can't commit funds, you can't approve this, you can make a recommendation and bring it to the body, but any action has to be done by a quorum in a meeting. And then the deliberation, that kind of goes to predetermining an action, save it for here. You can share information, but save the deliberation. Public body, you qualify for it. It's an administrative body of the state, which you are, created by ordinance, 2 or more individuals, supported by tax revenue, and vested with authority to make decisions regarding the public's business. All right, so it is open to the public, and unless it's closed, the public may attend, and they can provide comments related to the agenda or not. They're not required to speak only to the agenda items. And then, as you look at all of the agendas, if there's a public hearing, it's outlined on the agenda. I don't know that we have any tonight.
No.
We don't tonight. So usually it's in blue, and then it'll kind of stick out, and that has its own comment period so that they can speak directly to that issue, so it's fresh when it's discussed and deliberated. I think as I'm looking back over the years, I think we've done a pretty good job as a body overall of not interrupting the public comment. Sometimes it may feel irrelevant or not on topic or disrespectful, or, there could be a number of things, but as the government, as a public body, we respect freedom of speech, the ability for people to come and express what's on their mind. Now, there are limits to that, which we'll get into a little bit more in the policies and procedures. If someone is disrupting, even committing a crime, disorderly conduct, something like that, they can be removed from the meeting. This one's kind of hard because a lot of times you want to engage in a dialogue with the person asking the question, and as a government body, though, we can't choose favorites, and so if we engage with some and not with others, now we're not giving everyone equal protection. And so we just have to be careful of opening that door, because then we have to do it. And so typically what we'll do is, and I think we've done it recently, usually the chair will say, okay, this isn't a dialogue, but we're taking notes and we can address that as we go through the meeting. And then, yeah, the chair, we have the thing that goes up on the screen that's asking them to limit it to the time frame. And if they're going over, the chair can say, well, thank you, you've met your time. Go ahead and sit down. Okay. How do I pause this? Or do I just exit it? All right, I'm gonna go out. So I just thought it would be fun to show an example of maybe an off-the-wall comment from some guys. Anyway, it's posted online. Let me pull it up. All right.
Nina Kelly, she's always.
She's. Yeah, and so I mean,
she's
there's
not even here to defend herself.
I think she saw this at the Planning Commission, though. I shared this there as well, but this is, I thought, just kind of a fun way to show what may come up at a meeting.
What up, council? My name is Chad Kroger. This is my dog, JT. Council, I live to be balanced and at peace. And no two things do that more for me than golfing with the bull and shooting firearms. I love both, but one of them makes my girlfriend uncomfortable. And after talking to her, it's become clear that guns are a huge issue in this country. Some people think themselves are the problem, other people think it's mental health. All I know is, we gotta frickin' do something. In Australia, where I did a semester at DBAW, they had this gun buyback thing where if you turn your gun, you got money. Money's chill, but what if in America, if you turn your gun in, you got a new set of Callaway clubs and a tea time at the local club with 3 cool bros? I have mental health every time I train a birdie in front of my dogs. It's epic. They're all cheering, then Cart Girl comes around the corner, just looking all cute with ice cold beverages. Daddy's been known to have more than a few Michelob Ultras, low carb. On top of that, if you get more than one gun back, you could get some cool wedges or hybrids. And if you turn in assault rifles, you get a tea time at Augusta. I would honestly give you my rifle if you let me touch the grass on Augusta's Amen Corner. That'd be sick. I'm not saying this would fix the issue, but because people still do evil, but might keep our shots on the fairway. All right, late.
JT?
Thank you. What up, council? My name is JT Parr. I'm here to buttress Chad's point and to make a macro point about America. People are dumb. But they used to be nice. But now they're dumb and mean. It's like everyone's in an episode of Succession. It's okay to be dumb, but if you're going to be dumb, you should be loving. That's how my parents raised me. And I read some poetry the other day that drove home that idea for me. And with your permission, I'd like to rap it to you now. What's wrong with the world, mama? People living like they ain't got no mamas. I think the whole world's addicted to the drama, only attracted to things that'll bring you trauma. Overseas, yeah, we're trying to fight terrorism, but we still got terrorists here living. In the USA, the big CIA, the Bloods and the Crips and the KKK. Madness is what you demonstrate. And that's exactly how anger works and operates. Man, you gotta have love just to straight. Take control of your mind and meditate. Let your soul gravitate to the love, y'all. People killing, people dying, children hurt, hear them crying. Can you practice what you preach, or would you turn the other cheek? Father, 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 help us, send us guidance from above. 'Cause people got me questioning, where is the love? Where is the love? Where is the love? The love, the love, the love. Thank you.
Is this for real? Is this like,
Yeah. So they call themselves like social influencers, and they'll go around to different city and county councils or commission meetings throughout the country. So anyway,
When that happens,
yeah, I haven't seen them here yet, but
are we supposed to keep a straight face when that
if we
goes-
can,
Okay.
yeah. Because
Keep a straight face if that goes down. I'm gonna need more Botox.
so, anyway, I think, I mean, sometimes we'll get comments that you say, you know, do we have to keep a straight face? Well, yeah, I think we should be respectful of what anyone has to say. You know, for them, I think they're trying to be funny, of course, and go around and influence people. But if someone feels strongly about something, letting them come in, share it, and we can give respect. And I was giving that as an example. I don't think we've ever had someone sing to us, but, you know, maybe 2026 is the year.
Debbie, you got your gold.
Holy screens open.
Yeah, that's how I research. I'm sorry.
See this? Would you like to close their 75 screens or just this one?
Yeah, just that one. So anyway, here we go. Closed meeting. So these are some of the new slides. I think the top three, as I was going through and just thinking about what we typically close it for, are the character, professional competence, or physical or mental health of an individual. Strategy sessions to discuss pending or reasonably imminent litigation. And then we've got the strategy sessions to discuss purchase, exchange, lease, or sale of real property, including water rights or shares. There are others that are in the code, but as I was going through, I don't know that we've ever closed for another reason except for maybe collective bargaining my first year. But other than that, these are the three that typically come up. There are some restrictions, so you cannot interview a person applying to fill an elected position, which I don't know that that's really a thing anymore since they changed the code for our form of government where now the parties go through that process. Back when there was unaffiliated, you could run unaffiliated. There wasn't a process in place, and so actually the commission interviewed me. I remember that. So discuss filling a midterm vacancy or discuss the character, professional competence, physical or mental health of someone filling a midterm vacancy. So there are some restrictions on what can and can't be done even in those topics. But any questions about closed session? I think we pretty much keep it simple to those. All right, and then now we're back to notice. So giving at least 24 hours public notice. That includes the agenda, date, time, place of the public meeting. We do a pretty good job on that. I think we even try typically to get it out the Thursday before, to get that posted so there's plenty of time. Sometimes we update it on Monday, but we have to do it at least 24 hours before the start of the meeting. Provide the annual meeting schedule for regular meetings at least once a year. We did that even sooner than January because we did it at the last meeting. So December, January, we post that for the year. And then post to the Utah Public Notice website, and then somewhere at the anchor location, we're posting the agendas before. And then it talks about other electronic notices encouraged, which we do on our county website, even though it's not required. We try to give more notice. There are the emergency meetings. I think, to my recollection, we've only had the one. Is that right? And it was during COVID, and it was when, do we have another? So yeah, we still gave the 24-hour notice.
Yeah, we might have done that.
Yeah, for the flood. So, and if you give 24-hour notice, then it's not technically an emergency meeting. So the emergency meeting is when you don't have to follow the 24-hour rule. If you say, I think it was Brian Cowan was coming to talk about COVID, it wasn't 24 hours, but even though we're within that, we're holding that meeting, that doesn't mean that we don't give notice at all. We just give as much notice as we can. And so if we knew at the 23-hour mark, then get that posted as soon as possible, because we want the public to be aware and to participate as much as possible. And that's where the statute says that we provide the best practicable notice.
Now, isn't there a stipulation within an emergency meeting that basically states that there has to be at least 2 of the commissioners that agree to an emergency meeting? And then they
Yes.
request it to the chair, and the chair then can say,
Yeah.
hey,
Yeah, so it can't just be one person
right.
putting that meeting on. Sorry, I might have to go in and set myself to whatever. Do not disturb, right? Okay. So yeah, there is a process, and if you want, we can jump to that part in the code after. Doesn't happen a lot in our county, but it can on occasion. The third bullet point probably happens the most often is that if something comes up from public comment, or maybe something that you thought of that wasn't on the agenda, it can be discussed without notice, but it's up to the chair. So if the chair says, you know, they brought this up, let's talk about this a little bit. We can't take any action on this. We can bring this back, but we can at least start the discussion.
So
And
how
so-
would that work? On a topic raised by the public, in a prior meeting, we come and we think we've got to have a meeting on that, or the chair does, then how does that work? Do we have to give them notice on the official site that we're having that meeting, or what happens there on that one?
So you're not giving notice on the site, so it's happening in the meeting. Let's say that someone comes up here and they start talking about
Like speeding on a
He's
road.
you're talking 2 different things.
Well,
Yeah.
that's what I'm trying to figure out here.
Yeah,
within this
so let's say
exception.
someone comes up and they want to talk about the berm at the airport, and it's not on the agenda, but then the Chair Wilson says, okay, we've talked about this in the past, let's just talk about it here. We can't make any decisions about that tonight because it wasn't noticed. But you can have that discussion as long as no final action is taken. And you're not expending any funds.
Okay,
Does that make,
yeah,
does that help? Yeah. So I think that's probably the most common to come up. And I think everyone's handled that pretty well when it has. All right, so for the enforcement, sometimes we will renotice or reschedule a meeting, or if something wasn't noticed correctly, then we'll postpone it to a later meeting. And in large part, not only do we want transparency, but decisions can be voidable if the Open Meetings Act isn't followed. And so it talks about the typical is 90 days. So if someone files a lawsuit to void a final action, they have to file that within 90 days. If it involves the issuance of bonds, then, you know, notes or other evidence of indebtedness, it's down to 30 days. And attorney's fees can be awarded to the prevailing plaintiff. And then it talks about how county attorneys are tasked with enforcing OPMA as well as the Attorney General, but at least for our county, it would just be my office. And that's all I had for the open meeting. So hopefully it was less boring and more interesting than last time. Thanks to Janet.
That's great, thank you.
Okay. Do you want me to share my screen for this one? Or? Here, why don't? Yeah, you share your screen. I'm gonna go to Do Not Disturb. And I'll thank Kate on this one, because Kate's getting us to adopt this each year, which is good. So we can go through and see if there's anything that we need to update. So this was CR 2502 from last year. Part of what we just did is included in here as far as having meetings open to the public, what's required to do that. I did notice that it has that, when you go from 4 to 5, it just has that hanging
Page 4 to 5?
page 4 to 5, sorry. I think it's just the formatting where it has the page break. The main one that I was looking at that I thought maybe we could just amend the way it's written is Rule 11. This is on page 18 of the document. And so this is where we were talking about earlier. There's freedom of speech. People can say a lot of things. They can say things that we disagree with, and we need to give them that opportunity. But it does talk about, engaging in personal attacks, shall restrict comments to issues before the body.
I'm on the right one.
Sorry, decorum.
Page 18.
Page 18 of the, not the document, of the
I was like, I don't
the
know what you're
rules of
reading, but
procedure.
that's what is on my screen. Okay.
Okay, yeah. And so just under that 11(1)(a), and then it also says violations of decorum or conduct of commission members shall be addressed by the chair, who may declare a commission member out of order. I don't know that we've ever had that happen, so that's positive. Commission members should avoid engaging in private discourse or committing any other act which may tend to distract the attention of the commission or the audience from business before the commission, or which might interfere with any person's right to be heard after recognition by the chair. This one, I think we probably could work on a little bit more. Sometimes there's discussions between commissioners because, you're just kind of discussing something as we're waiting for someone to come up. There was also a discussion that we had maybe a year or so ago where we talked about not texting each other or something during the meeting, because even if you're using your private phone and you're saying like, oh, can you believe this? Or, I don't know, whatever it would be, but it's happened in other public bodies, and it's gone all the way up to the State Records Committee, and they say that under GRAMA, your phone is now subject to a GRAMA request and those messages back and forth, because you can't claim it was personal use because it was it was during a time in which your deliberation should be open to the public and you were in a meeting texting, and so then it becomes subject to GRAMA. So just a reminder, if we can, you want to speak into the mic, catch everything on the record, conduct your deliberations openly, even if you have something that you might want to say to the person.
So are there any amendments you were making to the wording?
No,
Okay.
not on this one. This was
Okay.
more of just going over, but under subsection 2, there are suggestions.
Okay, so we did talk, you and I have talked
Yeah.
about Rule 10, which is the one
let's
right
go
above
back.
it,
Yeah.
where with the conflict of interest, right now, the last statement states, although state law does not require a commission member to abstain from voting or avoid participating in discussion regarding an item where there is a conflict of interest, the applicable member may determine it is advisable to do so. You and I had talked, because back when Robert McConnell was here, he would restate the conflict at the beginning of the action item, and at one
Yeah.
point you wanted to add that in here. I don't know if that's still.
Well, I don't know. I think I've also been told, and probably, well, Mike, you might be the only one that was here with the prior council, right? Everyone else was elected as a commissioner, not a council person. What I've heard is that there were, and I don't know if it was in these policies and procedures, but there's varying levels of declaring the conflict or removing yourself from the conflict. And what I've been told is that it used to be a council person would have to step out if they had a conflict while it was being discussed. And I don't know why that was changed or when it was changed, and if that change is good, but I can see how potentially it could be helpful to say, okay, I'm going to step out. And the reason I brought up Robert McConnell is I know that sometimes he would voluntarily step out even though he wasn't required to do so. Not with every conflict, but on the ones that he's like, I maybe shouldn't be involved in this discussion either. So I don't know if you want to revisit that, if you want me to come up with some options for language, and there's probably a sliding scale where you say if you have a conflict, you need to step out. If you have a conflict, you abstain from voting. If you have a conflict, you declare it at the beginning. If you have a conflict, we just do it right here that you may step out. It's up to your discretion.
So just to give you an example of why this is at the forefront of my mind, I own property in Wasatch County. The parcel next to me, we have a private road. So it's 8 houses on a private road. And when Heber City did their big annexation, we requested to be left out of that. And we were. The property owner to the east of me decided to request to be annexed in, which would have given the city at 1/8 access to a private road that's not big enough. Like, it's not big enough for a fire truck. And our fear was that they were going to widen the road. The reason I bring that up is the city councilman was also the applicant's engineer. And as a commission, you appoint the planning commission seats. So here I am as a citizen against this, and the person that appointed the planning commissioners, the county councilman, is sitting next to the applicant in the planning commission meeting. And then at the city council, even though he abstained, is sitting next to the applicant in the action item. Is that legal? Absolutely. Optically, does it look terrible? Absolutely. So it's just one of those optic things that we might just want to consider. Whether it's a restatement of it or what have you. I know we talked about the restatement.
Right.
I have a problem a little bit with that. If we really look at conflicts of interest could be I'm a relative of somebody else that's on the commission, or I'm a relative of the person that's out there talking. And even though I'm a relative, doesn't make it to where I'm going to favor a side of them. I mean, I know that one of our commissioners is related to somebody within one of his portfolios. And, whether or not that's right or not, it's just, I'm just kind of curious. Okay, if we go to that extreme.
So do we need to define what conflict?
Do we violate a conflict of interest? I mean, I know.
It does?
So the statute defines a conflict of interest, which is a business interest or ownership in a company. And so it is defined. So a conflict isn't necessarily a relationship. There might be a nepotism, HR thing that we would look at for that. But just being related or being friendly with someone, the conflict of interest under state statute is financial. It's specific to financial, business ownership, interest, something like that. And so it would limit it. And the reason probably it came up more often with Commissioner McConnell is his law practice that he's a partner of that represents applicants. And so that it wasn't just, I know them or I have a representation agreement. It's I'm an owner of, a law firm that represents.
Because, I mean, if we look at it, every one of us have a conflict of interest. I mean, I'm in agriculture and I'm going to stick to agriculture.
And I would consider that a bias,
That's
but
a
it's not a
bias.
conflict of interest
But-
under the definition.
That's where I wouldn't know the law on that
Yeah.
conflict of interest versus bias. I mean, there's a lot of biases that we all have. And I'm just trying to make sure that we're not conflicting of interest on all of these different things, because I mean, we all are related in this county. Majority of us are.
So it's
in one way or
my
another.
understanding that's why they changed it to where now those conflict forms that you filled out are published to the website, and that's what's listed on there is what would need to be announced if it hits that conflict. So you own a business and or like our county treasurer, her husband and her son are on Morgan County payroll. Like she just has to list that as a conflict because it's fiscal. So anything that was on that form would have, if it triggered in a commission action item, would have to be, my opinion, and that's why it has to be posted on the county website. And they're due by January 12th, which, thank you for turning them all in. But,
So
yeah,
have you reviewed?
To me, it's really if you benefit financially, either directly or indirectly through a decision the commission makes, you ought to exclude yourself. I think that's pretty cut and
All my
dried.
businesses on my.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
that's why I do
if one of your businesses was to come in and make an application, you would step out of that. I mean, if we were talking in Commissioner Fackrell's situation, if we were talking specifically about a pay change for his spouse that works for the county, he should step out of that. Like, that's, outside of that, though, I mean, it doesn't,
well, like a prime example is Commissioner Nickerson was like, well, I don't bid on county projects for electrical. And I said, yes, but you still own a business in the county. And if we were to redo the electrical code as a county commission, you'd probably want to disclose that conflict that might help or hinder you in your business.
which is an indirect, potentially an
Correct.
indirect opportunity to benefit financially. So,
Yeah.
See, and I keep thinking about, because I'm related to a good portion of the county, so as rezones or things come up, it's like, is it a conflict? And it's like, I won't monetarily benefit at all, but I also think would be good, because I know a lot of people are like, that's your cousin, and you're gonna vote in favor or against, you don't want, whatever it is. So I don't think it's a bad idea to say, this is a family member, so that people understand that, yes, I am aware, and we're putting it out there so that everybody knows. But I guess technically it would not be a conflict of interest, but it may be a bias. It could be looked at as a bias.
and I think that should be stated, like, hey, I have no financial interest in this, however, this is a distant family member that's doing
That
this
way,
project.
it's out there in the public, the people understand,
Yeah.
they know. We're not trying to do anything sneaky.
Right.
Because we're probably all related to somebody,
Yeah, sure.
multiple.
We can't make it too difficult.
Or nobody's gonna be here.
So did I make that worse?
Well,
Or more
I don't.
confusing?
I don't think we made it worse. I think it just opens the discussion to say,
conflict
you know,
versus
is
bias.
there a sliding scale where do we like how it's listed right now, where it gives some discretion that says, although not required by state law, they may abstain, or
I don't think we've
Step
had a
out,
problem
or-
with it. I mean, I guess we could potentially have a problem, but I think everybody is pretty dang honest about.
yeah.
Okay, what's the next? You said?
So then under 11.2, the conduct of citizens and attendees, as we go on to the next, there might just be a clarification of wording here. Well, so A says those in attendance should be admonished by the chair when they engage in outbursts without being recognized, make personal attacks, or seek to disrupt the meeting through loud or boisterous behavior. So that's, you know, the chair can just say, hey, will you please stop that? But then B says individuals should be requested to address their remarks directly to the commission as a body. Concerning the agenda business, persons engaged in disruptive behavior shall be removed by the sheriff at the direction of the chair. I think, as I was reading through it, I was like, okay, well, I know that both are elected, and I bet the sheriff would do that, but if we just said, you know, persons engaged in disruptive behavior may be subject to removal in addition to criminal penalties, or something like that, where, well, because that's what it is. It's
I
written
hear
into
ya.
the code as disorderly conduct.
Well, and
But then it's not the chair directing the sheriff to do something, because the sheriff may say, well, no. And so, I don't think he would. I'm just saying that if we rephrased it to say, you know, I like in the next one, it says upon request of the chair, county sheriff or deputy will be assigned to the meeting, right? So the chair can say, hey, based on the emails we're getting, we think this might be more disruptive. Can you just have a deputy come, or will you come and the sheriff may just come himself, or send a deputy or two? So I like how it's written in Rule 12 because it's making that request, or maybe there's something that says person engaged in disruptive behavior are subject to removal. And do we say like through collaboration of the sheriff and the chair, or something where they're working together to maintain
I think it would
decorum?
just be subject to removal, period.
Okay, and how that's done?
Yeah.
I think I've seen that once in 6 years.
I can be your muscle,
Yeah, we'll let Kate remove them.
because I'm so mean.
Remove, okay.
So 11B would be individuals should be
subject to
requested to
removal.
address their remarks directly to the commission as a body concerning the agenda business. Persons engaged in disruptive behavior are subject to removal, period. Right here.
Okay, that's the one I thought.
And then I think that rolls right into Rule 12 really nicely, because then if the chair foresees an issue, make a request, and then it talks specifically in 3, in case of any disturbance or disorderly conduct within the chambers, at a commission meeting, the chair may request the sheriff or deputy to escort the offenders from the commission meeting, which I think is how it should work. So.
Anything else?
Other than that, I think,
That was a
Travel.
question I had. Let me bring it up.
Is your mic on?
Yeah, it's on.
Oh, okay. I'm getting nasty cramps from Jeremy that they
That's
can't.
because I'm sitting back like everybody else.
Oh, I was like,
thought
because he
maybe-
can't hear you.
I mean, I figured this could work for me, but anyway, and I can't see now. On item 6, page 7 of the packet, which would be of this item, which is page 4. And it is under rural, that's a 2 or a 3? 3. And it's 6, where it states the reasons for for the closed meeting. Why, I mean, we've listed items there, but there are additional items within the code. Why don't we just leave it at code, the Utah State Code, instead of listing those items, in case there's something else? That's the only question I have.
and I think that we added the code reference last time. I'm okay with just citing to the code itself, but for at least those that are just looking at the policies and procedures, these are the closed session. The other ones are specific to the Legislative Audit Committee. These are the only ones that could apply to the county, even though we only use 3 of them.
Okay, the only question I have is, some people will take that as closed meetings are allowed for these purposes, but if there's another purpose under the code and we don't follow it, and yet we break this, maybe you ought to have closed meetings are subject to these purposes and the code. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm fine with that too. And, if the state legislature updates the code and adds another thing that does apply to the counties, then it would be encompassed.
That's right.
Okay.
I'm just thinking from a public standpoint, well, these are the items, but you guys went out for a different item, even though they didn't read the code. So that's the only reason I was bringing that up.
Yeah.
Sorry, anything else on commission policies and procedures? Because we have 10 minutes and we still have to do travel.
Yeah, I don't think so unless anyone else.
And that's 46. I think the only thing we considered changing on this one was I do not book lodging.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
So
read
wanted
that,
to
I thought,
strike that.
Great.
I think everything else is, oh, was there clarification I
Oh,
can't
yeah, I had
remember.
a couple items on it. Let me get to it.
Okay,
I think the main thing was the lodging, just because of the,
well, like, do we approve before? Does it have to be,
well, it's approved by quorum.
Right.
Yeah, there was,
was
so we had a
a question
discussion
last summer.
earlier on where it wasn't an action item, it came up in commission comments. But we didn't have time to put it on another agenda. And my interpretation of the policy at the time was, as long as it's approved by a quorum, it wasn't necessarily through an action item. And I don't know if we need to clarify that it has to be through an action item, or if it can just be during the commissioner comments and everyone says, oh, yep, there's this one coming up, yeah. We get a quorum head nod to it, or does it have to be an action item?
Good question. Because I'm the one that wants to go on a few.
I think comments would be during the commissioner comments would be fine.
I think it functions the same way because it's not an action item. The budget's already set. The public, like, I don't know that it would matter as much where they say, well, I don't want you to go to that fill in the blank meeting, right? Because that's not really up to the public. You set the, you know, if it's within the budget, you get a quorum by office says, yeah, we think you should go to that. I think the more informal will probably address some of those things that come up where you're trying to get early bird pricing and you don't want to wait till the next agenda. So that's just my thought. But that's how I interpreted it last time, so I'm probably biased toward that interpretation.
I can agree with that.
okay? So leaving it as is, except for I don't book lodging,
Okay.
okay?
And then another item I have a question on, and that is, a pre-authorized item, reimbursement of parking, mileage, gasoline, and it's on under travel expenses procedures. It says it need to, if for requests of reimbursement of expenses over $500 are to be submitted to the county administrator, administrative manager in advance. Well, what if you don't know those costs before the meeting? Such as we went to USAC and we all ended up paying parking fees
Over
if we were the whole
$500?
day.
Not over 500.
Right, so that's what I'm asking is how do we, I can't interpret that very well. Can you help me?
It's only if the costs are anticipated to be over $500, which for any driving within the state, you wouldn't be over $500. For any parking, you won't be over $500. And it's not cumulative everything together, it's individual items, correct?
Okay,
That's how I read it.
So,
Oh, it says expenses plural.
yeah.
I can't, I'm even thinking of,
I don't know of a scenario for that. I really don't, but I'm just asking that question.
well, but it refers to it says expenses, but it refers to those above. Reimbursement of parking, mileage, gasoline do not require requests if they are under $500. So it's limited to parking, mileage, gasoline, or ferry or bus passes, which even altogether probably aren't going to exceed $500 for any trip.
and
is
this
this
is the
related
travel
to
and training policy,
prepayments?
not just commission, for the whole.
Right.
No, it's
all
it's
of
under
us.
general information, travel and expense procedures.
Because it does say authorized business travel for staff that includes prepayments must be pre-approved.
Yeah, and then it
And
says you
so-
don't have to get them approved if they're under $500 and within the parking, mileage, or gasoline, ferry or bus pass category. But if they are going to be in those categories and over $500, then you're supposed to get
Then
them.
get the sign off.
And I feel like there also needs to be an update. I mean, rail transportation. We need to add Uber, Lyft, because if you're flying somewhere, you might not rent a car. You might get an Uber, but there's no mention of Ubers or Lyfts or anything
Taxi,
like
Uber,
that. Taxi.
Lyft.
Okay. And I think there was a change that we made, not like officially, for out-of-state travel. All out-of-state travel must be approved by the county administrative manager or the commission chair. I think we added, that I put that on consent agenda.
Is that out of state, like, say for instance, I'm going 2.5 hours away to a trails conference with that, and it's out of state?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, good girl. It was more like our emergency management director went to a training in Iowa. And so they were leaving the state, and it's more of a, it helps us be aware that someone on our insurance is going out of state. Especially if they're wanting to take a county vehicle or something like that.
Right.
I think that was its intent. But I just wanted to add the wording that we'd add that to consent agenda. I would think with the commission, since it's approved by quorum, it's redundant whether it's in-state or out-of-state, because it's gonna be approved by quorum anyway. I think that's more for anyone else. Would you translate it
agree,
that way?
yeah.
Okay. Okay, anything else? 3 minutes? Okay.
Not for me.
Do we need to add anything in the travel policy now that we have fleet vehicles? That
Do we use them first?
that's a priority
So,
over
I think
mileage
they should-
reimbursement?
They should try to use them versus their private vehicles. You know, that should be, sorry, we have them.
Yeah.
You know, then we're not having to refund anybody anything. You know, we purchase them, let's use them.
So if that's the case, where we only have two vehicles, I think, I don't know how many we've got, three vehicles, like to the day on the hill.
So we have one fleet vehicle, so one at-large vehicle, and then I have the calendar, and you have to book it with me.
Okay,
So,
because
I think Cindy used it for an election training. We've got our fair chairs using it to go to fair training. Like, we have, people are booking it for sure.
So is it being used all the time?
Not all the time, but a healthy amount. It's not sitting there, I can tell you that much. So, okay, so we'll add some type of language that the fleet vehicle, scheduling of fleet vehicle takes priority over mileage
Yeah.
reimbursement. Okay, okay. All right, anything else? Bathroom break?
Okay, we'll take a 2-minute break and be back for regular meeting.
I think we could absolutely be done by 8.
There's things like that. process. If you're out of town and something comes up, you're can you do? Good. Well, that's good.
Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. Welcome, everyone, to our County Commission meeting, January 6th, 2026. Appreciate you being here, and those that are online, we welcome you as well and appreciate you listening. We're going to turn the time over to Commissioner Fackrell now for an invocation and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Our dear Heavenly Father, this afternoon we're grateful for this opportunity which we have to be here as a public body and to elected officials to be able to discuss the affairs of this county and how it can go forward and how we can improve upon what we have. We pray that that will bless us this day, that as we discuss those items that are on the agenda, that we will be able to do so in a very cordial manner, and that as the public wants to discuss items that they can, and that they can be able to say what it is within their minds. We are grateful for this country that we have to live in. We're grateful for this county. It's a very blessed county, and we pray that that will help us to keep it that way. These things we pray for in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
You follow me in a pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Commissioner Fackrell. Appreciate that. Okay, it's a new year. Happy New Year to everyone. Hopefully everybody had a nice holiday, Christmas and New Year. So it is time for us to choose and elect a new county commissioner, a chair, county commission chair, and vice chair. So I will turn the time over to nominations.
I would nominate Commissioner Wilson as chair.
I'll second it. Oh, I guess it's not a second on the nomination.
No, just nominations.
Okay. I'm good with that.
I'm fine to do it. It'll be my last year for sure. Okay, so we have a nomination for Commissioner Wilson to continue to be the chair. All those in favor?
Aye.
Are there any opposed?
Oh,
One.
That's an opposition.
Okay,
I move to nominate Vaughn Nickerson again as vice chair.
okay,
I'll second it.
okay. I have a nomination and a second for Vaughn to be the vice chair.
Do you want that
Continue.
one?
I'll keep doing it. It's fine.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Okay.
Okay, doesn't have to move the signs.
Okay, we have 5 consent agendas this evening. I assume everybody's had an opportunity to look at those.
Sorry, I made an error.
Okay.
I put Commissioner Blocker's appointment to Planning Commission in the packet twice, and I never put the RFP in, which is consent agenda item 5.
So in other words, we need to take that out.
We need to take that out because you have not seen it.
Okay, so that one will need to be removed then.
Yeah. But we got that resolution in there twice.
Okay, so that, then, just for, as I read through the rules and learned a few things today as I read through those, I will try and do better of, just for the public. Our consent agenda items are approval of the minutes from December 17th and a receipt of a letter of resignation for the Weed Abatement Board, member Louis Dillery. It was a notice of an opening on the Weed Abatement Board, and that is now open for submissions, and notice of opening on the Community and Economic Opportunity Board. That's open for submissions. Okay,
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve consent agenda items 1 through 4, and that we remove consent agenda 5 and postpone that for a future meeting.
I'll second it.
okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Newton and a second by Commissioner Blocker. All in favor?
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Cindy, were there any modifications to your minutes from the ones that were in the packet? Okay, so, but you printed a copy, and so I can pitch mine. Okay, thank you.
Okay, any commissioner declarations of conflict of interest? And I assume everyone's been able to turn in their
Yes.
I have.
conflicts of interest for the year. Okay, appreciate that. Okay, now is the time for public comment, so we'll welcome any public individual that'd like to come up and share anything that they have. You have 3 minutes. Would like you to state your name and where you live, your address, and that's not a time period where we can interact with you, but you're welcome to state anything that you'd like to the commission now. So I'll turn the time over to the public. Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to our presentation. Blair Stringham. Get to see you at least once a year, it seems like.
I'm happy to be here.
Welcome.
So yeah, good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Blair Stringham with Utah Division of Wildlife Resources, and I'm here this afternoon to present our payment in lieu of taxes to the county, which we do each year. This year, the amount is $5,064.84. This is in lieu of the taxes that we pay for the land that we hold here in the county. We have about 20,000 acres that we manage for wildlife. It's hunter and angler access, as well as a lot of great habitat for deer, mule deer, upland birds, and a variety of other species. So we just want to reiterate it. We really appreciate the county, all that you all do, and we've worked with multiple commissioners in this county on WMA issues. Commissioner Nickerson's been on our deer committee lately, and just a lot of good things happen up here, and we appreciate that partnership, and hopefully you'll reach out if you ever have questions or issues.
Thank you.
So how much was that, Blair?
It's $5,064.84.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yep. Who would you like me to leave the check with?
She said, that's me.
Oh, I guess here.
Money.
At least the more
Okay, we'll get it in the right hands.
I will get it to the treasurer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming up.
Thank you.
Wilson.
Going? No fire call quite yet. But my name's James Wilson. Haven't met any of you guys yet, but I'm looking forward to working with you guys. I know Dave Vickers served a long time, and those are some big shoes to fill, but looking forward to, high levels of collaboration with all the fire departments in here, and make them succeed in the wildland arena. A little backstory on myself. I'm originally from Chicago, 30 minutes north. Good luck. Bears fan.
No.
So I grew up in Chicago. I've been out here for 13 years. I have a big background in snowboarding. I actually ride for a company out of Salt Lake City, a big backcountry enthusiast, as well as just snow studies and stuff like that. Got into wildland firefighting, joined a hotshot crew, was there for about 6 years. Half of those years were in leadership positions, squad leader, that kind of stuff. This last year, I was able to take a little, foot off the gas, if you will. Since I knew I was going to get married in the fall, I wanted to be home more, and I worked as an assistant warden for Davis County as well as Utah County. So gaining those slides as a warden. The biggest thing is, I'm excited to work with you guys, as well as, Morgan Fire Department, Mountain Green, Wasatch Peaks, and, the community. One thing is, I would say just, House Bill 48, obviously, we've come out with, a lot more information on that. This week, there should be an assessment, a lot assessment, tab that you can ask for those lot assessments, and that should be updating this week. But just keep an eye on that. Especially the map is going to be the biggest thing. But just looking forward to working with the community of Morgan County, and so.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Got a great last name. You realize that your enthusiasm might be diminished just a hair being married now, right?
Well, there's a lot of house projects that come with it, so I'm still on.
That's
call.
right. She comes first.
Exactly. So excited, and thanks for allowing me to speak. And looking forward to working with you guys.
We look forward to working with you.
Still hope your team loses on Sunday.
Hey, I just became a Bears fan because they're doing good this year. I'm
Wagon jump.
Thanks, James.
Thank you.
Okay. Sean.
Good evening, commissioners. So I'm just here tonight just to give you an overview of the new map that went live on the 2nd of January. This is, again, it's live and it's ready to go. We have taken down all the old maps, and now we are officially using this new Morgan County GIS data map. So just to kind of give you an overview of it, when you pull up the map, this is what it goes to as default. As you zoom in, you're going to start to see the parcels. All the white lines are parcels, the tax parcels. And then as you start to zoom in more, you're going to start to see that blue overlay color. That is meaning that there's a recorded subdivision that's been recorded and is now been placed on the map, and the PDF is now available to view on the map. You just simply click on that blue, the parcel. Sorry, her screen is. This arrow up here, hit that arrow, and you will go over and you'll see Young Chrysler subdivision. That's the recorded subdivision that I just clicked on for that parcel. And this is the PDF to that subdivision that's been recorded. It's a PDF, it can be downloaded, printed, anywhere. Anybody that has you can look these up on your phone. If you have access to the map, you can have access to all this.
It's pretty neat.
Pretty nice.
As you go over on that arrow more, you're going to start to see sub maps. And if you scroll down, you're going to start to see section maps. Now, when you hit the section maps, these are now the digital tax parcel maps that I've shown before. These are all these are kept for tax purposes only, but this is showing ownership. So anytime a document or deed gets recorded, ownership changes, it's going to show up on here for anybody to access.
Sean, if somebody were to come in and have something recorded, how much time would you say, and I wouldn't hold you to, but is this updated weekly, monthly? How quick would you think would happen?
So currently right now, if the document passes and we're able to work it, so it's a, Really quick, commissioners, this is Charles. He is our GIS specialist. He is the guy that has made this possible, and he's the one that's helping taking this county further for us.
We've heard good things about you, Charles.
Thank you. Hopefully not the bad things. So the ownership stuff updates every Monday. So like this section, the hyperlink for the parcel info takes to the Morgan County search portal being done with Medici. I'm not quite sure what the update iteration is for that, but the ownership stuff is updated every Monday.
So fairly quick then. So.
Yeah, and we want to get to daily. Eventually, there's a lot of moving parts right now towards moving to a new system, and then once we're in that new system, we do want to move towards daily.
All right. No, that's excellent. Thank you.
Sean, when does Enterprise go live?
So Enterprise is live right now. So
Okay.
we've transitioned from Esri. We are now in Enterprise. We are meeting with ProWest, who is going to help us transition fully into Enterprise next week to kind of get that ball rolling. But we are currently in Enterprise right now. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
All right. You want to keep going? Speaking to how long it takes for ownership to show, originally, before I came into office, it was about a year. You would see the majority of ownership changes. So going from a year to a week is a huge deal.
Yeah.
We're, like Charles said, we're hoping to go daily. So every day we're going to be running the script to have ownership changes.
So would that be the same? So I was in the other day, we were talking about, surveys and having the lines, make sure everything is correct. Is that kind of the same thing as ownership? It'd be basically weekly-ish?
With record surveys?
Yeah.
So record surveys, so there's a difference. So when a recorded document is what changes ownership, or that document is going to change whatever it's stating to say. A record survey is only being filed, and that's just to be made public to the public online. But a lot of times the documents are being recorded with the record survey, and that will create the changes. On record surveys, so how you see blue on here that represents the subdivisions, there's going to be a color on here. You can put one on here to show everybody. You see this yellowish color? So that yellow color, that's going to represent record surveys. So soon you're going to start to see all the record surveys that's been filed within the county on here as well, and you'll be able to that also. They'll show the record survey number on them. We also have a ledger that we've created that has all the record surveys that's been filed within the county. The number matches the ledger, and so you can find them on here. You'll be able to search them on here, or search them in the ledger, and then go to the map. Either way, you'll be able to. So the biggest part for this, the bigger picture for this map was how can we get it down to one map countywide? So to help with all the departments, we got together and we have combined all the maps into one. So if you come over here, these are now the layers for each department. So you'll have reporter layers, surveyor layers, planning and development layers, election layers, clerk and auditor layers, assessor layers, emergency management layers, and that hexagon is the imagery that's behind it. That is always going to be on there as default. Now, the white lines, the parcels, they're going to be on there as default, and also the subdivisions. So anybody who gets on the map anytime, every time, these are going to be on there as default. You can turn them off by coming to the reporter layers, hitting that I and turn them off. And then going to the surveyor layers, the surveyor layer is a work in progress. As we get the data in, it will begin to update, and we will start to add the layers to them. But if you then you can turn off. So if you wanted to see everything on this map, I'll just turn into it for you so you can see as if everything was on. And you can kind of see how much being controlled in the county. So every color, every wording, it's a different layer. So all this is combined into one map. Each department still has control over their layers, but now we have the capability. Charles in-house can change, update anything that the department needs.
Yeah, I have a question for you if I can.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, on this map in particular, this one, Morgan City boundary. You've got these, the boundary is which one of these lines? Because I mean, you've got some green, some purple, some orange, blue, some, okay. But those within that boundary, there were some different layers or something in there. What are those distinctions?
So all those colors, I was just showing what all the layers were on. So all the colors on there, that was just me showing you all the different layers of how much data that you were controlling in the county. And now that we're able to show all those layers on this one map. So the city boundary, and yeah, where we added a legend over here also that will show.
So maybe I can come down and ask you that at another time if it's not important to anybody else. It's up to these guys.
What's your question?
My question was just that. I mean, we've got some different items in there that were different colors within that city boundary. And I'm just wondering, okay, have those been annexed into the city? Are they county? Or are they part of the city, basically, is what I'm asking.
That red, the outline of Morgan City is Morgan City.
Right.
So anything inside of that, we're still showing parcels because everything is still getting, anything to do with the city still gets reported within the county. And so anything to do with, so you're still showing, we're going to show subdivisions, we're going to show record of surveys, we're going to show the parcels, the address, assessor layers.
That's everything current, though. It's not future annexation and stuff like that.
No. But if any future, it will be shown.
Right. Well, I'm just looking at it because if it's within the city boundaries and you've got some little outlines that are green, which are like the counties, and yet they're showing up within the city as, that would mean to me they'd be county property within the city, that is a red flag.
I guess I don't understand.
Okay, if you can go back to the one that you
But
had.
this building is county property within the city.
Right, but individuals, because we're not supposed to have, in fact, it's one of the legislations coming up here this year with legislature, where they're not gonna be able to allow them to have an island within the city.
So you're saying that it's non-county owned property?
No, I'm saying, are they county-owned property? Or are they individually owned properties within city limits that our county, you know, that the county has to manage or take care of?
Okay. To my knowledge, there are no privately owned parcels
I just need to,
within
I
the
need to
city.
know so that I can go forward with some, you know, with help with legislation this year. I don't wanna hurt some people, and I wanna make sure we don't give everything away either.
Okay, so I have it pulled up.
Okay. Okay, so you've got right, is the city part of this, like township or section number 33? Is that part of the city or is that part of the county?
So the sections and the townships have nothing, they are,
Okay, let me show you. Okay, this one here, is that within the city boundaries?
no,
Okay, so the city boundary is this one here?
No.
no.
So where's the city?
It's the dark red.
Red.
You see it? No, I don't.
Hang on, let me show you.
Okay, that's right. Because within that, back up. Purple then is what within that boundary?
Floodplain.
Okay.
No, it's floodplain, isn't it?
I just don't want us to have a problem with the legislature.
Okay.
You know what would be nice if there was like the color coordinated next to the department? You know, the layer that's coming up, so we know what color to look for.
We can do that, but then that's why we created the legend over here that I have up now. So every
There you
color
go.
is now labeled. So if you have a question on what color is, what the color represents, you can go to that legend and you can see
That's what I was looking for.
what that
Okay.
is for. Now Blaine, the city has the boundary. So this red boundary, you can kind of see it. I can turn off all the layers as well. But let me do that. I can show you. That red boundary, Morgan City, that is the boundary of the city.
Okay. So we got one piece there that's an island.
Okay.
Okay.
Where are you seeing an island though? Yeah, so that's not an island. It looks like it, but it's not. It's connected within the city.
See those two connections.
How is it connected?
Right there, that little leg.
There's
two of
them right here,
Okay.
right there.
All right.
It is within the city boundary. Does that answer your question?
Yep, that does.
Okay.
Thank you.
If there's any questions going forward, you're more than welcome. You're always welcome in the office, and me or my office, Charles, we're more than happy to help.
Okay, thank you.
You know, this is obviously new to everybody, and so there's going to be a lot of some changes, from different departments. But If you have any questions, please come and ask. So that kind of the majority of this new map. The most important thing is just all the layers now that can be turned on and off. Anybody can view a certain layer, just one layer or multiple layers, voting layers, the assessor layers. But it can be changed and updated within.
That's awesome.
And I want to give a big thank you to you, commissioners, for allowing us to do this. Without you, none of this would have happened. It wouldn't have allowed Charles to take this on and get this done. So thank you for allowing us to do this. Do you have any questions?
What's an example of clerk auditor layer?
So clerk and auditor, so it is the garbage, the trash district.
Trash.
That's for Cindy. That and the election layer. Those are Cindy's.
So this is it. So there's two colors, the red and the blue. Each color is representing different routes, different pickup days, etc. And then the vote, the election layers is obviously the election of the voters.
And Sean has reached out to the school district and is presenting to them next week. And because they're interested in maybe getting some layers too of like who goes to what elementary school, that kind of thing. So, so another way to collaborate. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, this is great. I had fun playing with it. I pulled it up and just messing around. It's pretty awesome.
Thank you.
Thank
Is there
you.
any other questions?
Should satisfy anyone that's nosy at all. They can find out all they want.
Mrs. Blake. Okay. Yeah, I just got to get the papers. Okay.
Thank you, Sean. Okay, action item.
All right. So, last commission meeting, I talked to you all about how much work that is needed within the county for the PLSS, section corners, surveyor needs within the county. Now, tonight, I am asking for approval to create an in-house surveyor position. I had Casey go through and run some numbers kind of throughout different counties, and this is what he came up with. Ranges from 85 to 100,000 yearly for salary. Now, I will say that it is hard to get a private surveyor to come to a government job. Most likely a pay cut, but the work that needs to be done, I would strongly suggest that we look at starting out at 100,000 for the position to get a good surveyor here that will do a good job for Morgan County. On the side note of that, I was able to go back to 2015 and gather up all, and now this includes PLSS and then the reviewing of subdivision plats for the county. So for PLSS related work, it totaled up to $414,523. And then for subdivision reviews, it came up to be $526,604.
So over $1 million in 10 years.
And to be honest, with the PLSS work, we have nothing to show for it. To be honest with you, I showed you, I explained to you where we are at. We have nothing. And especially, for the subdivision reviews, it can also go a long ways. They're in-house. I think the turnaround time would be a lot faster. I think Josh would agree that having an in-house surveyor, we're not it's contracted, so we're not having to wait however long, 1 to 2 weeks for them to get their comments back. They're in the house, in the building, and they're reviewing them in person. So, and they'll be able to collaborate with all the other departments as part of that requires that. So now I'm here asking for approval for tax position. Placeholder.
So 100,000, that doesn't include benefits, correct?
Correct.
And do we have office space for a surveyor?
Yeah, it's that truck. He's gonna be out there on the field all the time.
That is a work in progress.
He can have my office,
Your office?
closet office.
Well, if we ever get the other portion that we asked for, or we want to try to do, which we have not approved, we have room. So,
That will, obviously, yes, we'll need to figure out where that office would go. But that will come. And to be honest with you, this won't be a fast transition. We obviously want to get a good surveyor here that will do Morgan County a lot of good. And we want to get someone good, and we want to do this right. But then also we need to find an office space for that as well.
So to break this up in chunks, would it make sense to, one, decide as a commission to post this position? And then two, if you're agreeable to post this position, pick a salary range? So,
I think that's the next step
Yeah.
that we would have to do. I don't see, as I looked, I didn't see anybody that has the recorder's office as the portfolio assignment. So,
we don't, elected officers don't have portfolios.
so who would do all the interviewing in that? And
Per state code,
Usually Sean,
Well,
myself, and
Casey.
Casey.
Case.
per state code, if the county does not have a surveyor or an elected surveyor, it falls under the recorder's office. So I would like to oversee the surveying.
I do have a question. So if we're looking at these, obviously we have salary, we have benefits. What kind of equipment would we also have to purchase?
Yeah, so we learned the hard way on that one, because the commission was very generous and gave the attorney an additional attorney, which we did in the budget. We approved salary and benefits, but no computer, no desk. So you're gonna be getting a budget adjustment for that. It's about $2,500 for like the laptop and the tech, the email address, the Outlook account, and then any costs of furniture,
surveying
desk.
equipment.
Well, and I mean like surveying equipment.
Equipment.
He's always gonna need a truck because we have a few, but I think that if he's gonna be out and about, he's gonna be in it every day. So I'm just,
we need to know the full
Kind of
scope
an
of
idea,
the
okay.
money.
we learned about the attorney, but as far as what kind of equipment are we gonna be purchasing? Is this a yearly upgrade to equipment, software, just those kind of things, just so we have we're not gonna hold you to the penny, or at least I wouldn't, but get a good ballpark of what is it really gonna cost to set up a surveyor?
So would the commission be adverse to the idea of at least letting us know if you're good with this, and then we can bring it back next meeting with a full spec out of expenditures?
Yeah.
Just so I have at least
We're going from $1 million to,
tasking staff to
You said
To at
that
least
million was over
run
how
this
many
down.
years?
10.
about 100,000.
So about 100,000 a year.
But that's where, like you said, we've got very limited.
That we're
to
paying
show,
out right now.
Yeah.
in
Where this would
contract
be
fees.
in-house and we have, 5-day-a-week access to a surveyor.
And what would be our plan for pass-through charges? Because a big portion of that was passed through on, through that
So that-
office. So,
It goes to revenue already. It's just right now, we have an expense line that expends it
so
out.
we would just have to
would
determine
just
an
roll
hourly
into
rate that
GR.
we would charge to have the surveyor do it.
Yep, which is now a great time to do it since we're doing foods.
And I think it's worth doing. I do think, I'd like to try to, I see some of these at like more entry level, I'm assuming surveyor positions. I'd like to think this is the type of job that somebody would probably grow into. So I'd like us to start a little lower on salary than
Conservative.
100,000. But
with-
I don't know what we'll get, so
Well, we could have a range.
Maybe that's the range, you know, maybe it's 75 to 100,000 or something. and
Depending on certification and experience.
Experience.
So, Commissioner Newton, were you talking about the Surveyor 2?
Yeah, Surveyor 1 and 2, I'm
So-
assuming those are,
So when you're looking at that, that is, so the Surveyor 1 and Surveyor 2 work under a licensed surveyor.
So they don't have their own.
so they're not a
licensure.
licensed surveyor.
They're not certified. Surveyor 3 and up have a certified, they are certified and licensed to survey.
So your Weber County Surveyor 3 would be licensed, and he's at 95,000, or she's at 95,000.
I guess the other thing I'd ask Sean is sometimes we forget how good of benefits we do provide as a county for our employees, and so in comparing other counties, sometimes we forget that portion of it too. So sometimes that's a big deal. That would be a big deal to me. Being self-employed, I see what I get to pay, so it's a big deal. So.
How does Grand County get off with 44,000?
part-time.
I mean, their benefits are almost as much as their
Isn't he
salary.
elected? He's elected.
Is it elected?
I'm not sure where that number's coming from. I don't.
Might want to reach out to him. He could get a pay raise.
You get to free pass to the.
Well, even
And
the
come to a
chief deputy
beautiful county.
counts.
So it sounds like you're good with commission tasking staff to move forward on at least flushing out the budget.
Yeah.
Yes.
Want an official motion on that?
Might as
think
well
we
since it's
should.
on action.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I move that we approve proceeding with determining a official and total budget for the potential of hiring a full-time surveyor position within Morgan County Clerk Office.
I'll second that.
Recorder's Office, I'm sorry.
I'll second that.
Leslie will take an employee. trust me.
Leslie doesn't want a surveyor.
I have a motion by Commissioner Newton and a second by Commissioner Nickerson. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Get with you tomorrow.
Motion carries.
Get with you tomorrow. Okay.
Aaron? Thank you, Sean.
Thanks, Sean. So I can't believe it's almost been 2 years since I've been here. And Aaron has always kept in the back of my mind that at some point we really need to repair the rain gutters on the library building. Our building is how many years?
28.
And we don't think they've ever been maintained. If you look at the library itself on that main circular area, you'll see a big stain down the center, and that's from our gutters leaking. We just did an emergency repair to the lobby building for leakage and have to do some more because it turns out there's damage from, what did that, Corey said there's sheetrock damage from
The earthquake in 2020. Yeah.
and we've never fixed it.
Yeah.
So that's of course an issue. So rather than keep kicking this can down the road, I figured if I put it on the agenda, we at least can talk about it and see if we want to get that done this year, get it done next year, patch it, what have you. But it's the newest building we have in the county short of the Public Works building, but it's, that stain kind of hurts my heart a little bit.
Mine as
And
well.
we have, where the senior center is, how it's draining improperly is eroding the foundation.
And you all probably remember that better even than I do, that part of that senior center porch extension was an addition after, and when the addition was put on, it was not put on correctly. For example, they just cut the fire alarms, so we didn't have a fire alarm in the library for a decade or so. They also just, we're good now though.
Looking at you, Erica.
And they also did not connect the gutters correctly. So right there where those two sections join, the water just piles down and it's starting to dig away at the foundation.
So I'm sure this fall and winter, you've noticed a lot of water sitting over there.
Water.
So is that something that you've turned into Public Works and they have ignored, or?
Yeah.
We have capital improvement money. I mean, I don't see why we're not.
So we're asking for an RFP. Is that what we're asking for, to find out how much this is gonna
Yeah,
cost?
essentially, and to to go to your, we have building authority money, because the weather was so great this last year, a lot of the money that we budgeted to spend this year on the fairgrounds improvements, I had to pay out 25, which got real creative. But, so we'll have monies in that budget that were intended for the fairgrounds, but we ended up having to pay those out in 2025. So,
Well, we should be saving some money on salt.
right?
And we
Snow
have,
plows. Wait,
not that I
you
want to
say
use a lot of it, but we do have a fund balance in the library
Yeah, it's not
fund too,
coming
if we
Thursday.
need to do some.
So, I just like to at least get it out for
Yeah,
RFP
I think we should
and
get it
see what
out.
it comes back, and then
It's just
when we
gonna
get that
get
dollar
worse.
amount, we can identify a funding source. But at least we can get that moving.
And is that process necessary for the cracks in the rotunda ceiling?
It's
as
less than
well?
$5,000, wasn't it?
No, it was 15.
Then yes, we would have to do that as well.
So we do also, and we've talked about this before.
Is this
kind
a
of need to-
sheetrocking thing?
Yeah, but it's in the tall rotunda in the center, so it's a little bit more difficult than just.
Is it behind the bricks?
It's
No.
the ceiling.
It's the ceiling sheetrock.
Okay, so wasn't some of the bricks also taken out too to determine where the water was coming from?
That was,
But that was down.
that was
floor.
down below, and we patched that. That's patched and painted.
Yeah. Good job.
Will you
But-
reach out to me and get a couple I can give you a couple of names, the people that are,
Yeah, I could really use some help prioritizing projects.
Okay.
Because there are a few things that need attention, and we just need to decide what to tackle.
I would think water would be one to talk, because it's just gonna get worse and worse.
Yeah,
Right.
as it comes through.
fixed.
Matt, is that something you have capacity for, to go by the library and have walk through with Aaron?
Sure.
Okay.
I'd be happy to.
Okay, that'd
Okay,
be great.
but in the interim, we'll get something scripted up for, going out for bid or estimate for the rain gutters. Okay, thank you. Thanks, Aaron.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the RFP to repair the rain gutters in the Morgan County Library Senior Center building and identify, I think we identified the source, didn't we?
We're gonna
Have one.
post that until we say how much it's gonna be.
So you're approving to step.
Move to
post
approve
the
the RFP to repair the rain gutter on the Morgan County Library and Senior Center.
I'll second motion.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Nickerson, and a second by Commissioner Newton. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Mr. Chair, I move that we adjourn the public meeting and convene as a Board of Equalization.
I'll second it.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Newton and a second by Commissioner Blocker. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we are now a Board of Equalization.
Leslie, you gave me the updated version for the packet, but it looks like it's blank. Is that
He marked the other circumstances and then
Oh,
said
okay.
there was an attachment.
prematurely? Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I know, I saw that one, I'm sorry.
There's an application from the husband and also from the wife. The
Oh,
wife
gotcha.
has additional issues. Their first issue was greenbelt error, and then she noted that it's a modular home and she thought the value was too high for a modular home. But again, remember, you're just approving a late appeal. You're not approving
An
what the
adjustment.
issue is.
Right.
It's just, are you going to accept their late appeal?
And remind us the criteria one more time.
Yes. Put that down on the end, here you go. That's right.
Can this like continue to go on and on and on all
Yep.
year?
March
Till March.
31st is the deadline for late appeals.
Now, I have a question on this too. With the current law for
Oh, this is a
2026,
primary exemption.
can we approve anything to do with Board of Equalization until we've gone through the courses?
Yes,
Because this is 25?
correct.
Okay,
Don't forget to sign up for your courses.
that's true.
Oh, we wouldn't forget.
They won't let you forget.
So are you guys in agreement that it's a factual error?
That's not what we're here for. What we're here for is, are you going to accept their late appeal?
We have to decide if it's a factual error
If they are,
to see if it
If they meet
abides
an
by
It's
the
right
law.
here.
yeah.
County records.
That paragraph right there.
But that's what she's saying, is
Factual
it
error is
has
on
the
there.
wording factual
That's
error right
only
here.
on that one. The rest of them are not.
Factual error, medical emergency, death, or other extraordinary unanticipated circumstance.
The applicant is here. However, I reached out to the state to see if they are allowed to speak, and they advised us no.
Okay.
But the applicant is here.
And this is for which one?
This is Williamson.
Is the factual error the fact that it was classified as green belt, but it's actually not able to qualify for green belt? Is that the factual? That's what they're saying.
And
Yes.
the county created that error.
Yes. Do you want to speak?
If it's a factual error, it's a factual error.
With the late appeals, you have the right to be able to open it up for me or not. We don't think that it is that it's a factual error because it's actually a smaller acreage. So we are going through and we're auditing a lot of people and going through and doing that. So it's totally up to you where you want to make that. What it does is it makes it have the opportunity for the assessor to basically go over it again and check it. And then with what was the other part of it? And the other thing with the modular homes, once they're established or they're affixed to a basement or whatever they do, we actually assess them as real property. So they're assessed just like everyone else that's in the county because they do have a depreciation schedule that's a little different, but everything else should be fine.
I did not understand your response on the green belt.
The green belt, what is the acreage on it?
I can pull it on the parcel map. Our new parcel map.
So it's 5.1. What we do is we take 1 acre out as basically saying that is for the home lot, because we have to make a lot value, and then everything else. So it basically does not qualify to be in Greenbelt.
Because basically, it's always
That has to be
you need
5.
six acres, one for home and 5.
So it has to be 5 acres or more to qualify
Of
in
ag use?
Greenbelt. That is for ag use, and it has to be for ag use, right? We got that. But it is 5 acres, and we have been going through the whole county and cleaning that all up for everyone. So what it does is it changes those 4+ acres, it changes them to secondary land instead of being in Greenbelt.
So basically, they have to have 6 acres if they have a home on it.
Yes. And it has been done, there have been some that have been for
So-
many years that have still stayed under Greenbelt, and whether they had something adjacent to them or they changed. But we have been trying to clean all of those up, mostly because they weren't able to be managed with the previous assessor because she had other things too. So that's why I had a Greenbelt specialist come in to be able to organize those things.
So you're requesting it because of our problem?
They're requesting
Because
based
of
on
our
factual
Payer,
error.
the taxpayer is requesting saying that there is a factual error. So it's your judgment whether you want to open that up or not.
And the factual error in their application is saying Greenbelt and that it's a modular home.
What does it hurt to have them look
And
at
they
it?
can't look at it again because the books are locked unless you give them permission to look at that.
Because the assessor can't make any changes because it's no longer applicable. We have
So
a
if it
limit.
become, we have to approve it one way or another, but.
Correct.
So if it's not Greenbelt, which has not been evaluated as Greenbelt,
Right.
correct?
Yes, I changed it this year.
It changed it this year, so they're gonna be paying more taxes. Sorry, guys. Not fair.
That's what we would need to make sure, where we want to go with that. But that is.
But your
it gives us a-
recommendation is that it's not a factual error because of how you are identifying Greenbelt and
Yes, and how
taking
we're
out
cleaning
the-
all of the ones that were smaller than 5 acres.
And what were you saying about a foundation? Because this says the modular home is on blocks.
So when they become a modular home, they do have a different depreciation because of how they're built, right? But the value of the home shouldn't really reflect any, like it's going to sell for the same amount with the land and the home.
I'll allow you to say something. Just a second.
But you'll have to come
No,
up
no,
here.
you're gonna have to come up to the mic.
Problem number one, the Greenbelt issue. We just bought the property and we are getting charged for back taxes that were never on record. The title company never knew about it. We bought it, they reassessed it. Oh, you guys should have been paying all these taxes for years. They send us the bill. So that's what we're asking you to.
Someone put the property in Greenbelt when it never qualified. So now we're expected to pay taxes as a rollback when we never owned the property, for one, and the county was the property was miscategorized, saving them the taxes, but we didn't own the property at that time. We didn't commit the error. So that's $8,000 that we're expected to pay that we never even owned the property. And we didn't make the error. We didn't falsify any documents or anything.
Okay.
So it's just a hardship that we're having to carry.
So when we found out about it, we called up here and we also called our title.
Immediately. We didn't wait until we immediately called.
We didn't even understand what this was.
Okay.
We called our title insurance. They've been working on it with the.
Is that something a title company should have caught?
Correct, 1,000%.
But it wasn't on record. So
Greenbelt is on record.
It was on record, but it wasn't known that the property should never have been in Greenbelt, because if I go down to the assessor's office or I tried to go pay my taxes, and they have the property listed as 5.56 acres. The property is not that large. So someone within the county put the property at 5.65, and that allowed it to be assessed as a Greenbelt. So when we purchased the property, they're going through and cleaning up their records, and it was noted that the property does not qualify for Greenbelt, so then we were charged to roll back taxes.
Okay.
So that
error was established.
I think we understand now.
So the title company was right in posting on their title report that it was in Greenbelt, but it's not their fault that it should not have
Correct.
been in Greenbelt.
I think on this situation, we should open it. That's my personal opinion, but I'll look to the rest of you for yours so we can have a vote on it.
I move to approve the late appeal request on the basis of factual information for John P. Wilkinson.
I'll second it.
I have a motion by Commissioner Fackrell and a second by Commissioner Blocker. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you.
It's usually, so they'll tell you next steps.
So then about the assessment on the value of the property.
So all this does is open it up for you to appeal.
Okay.
And then you'll have to go through the appeal
Thank
process.
you.
You're welcome. I absolutely hear it.
We'll live to fight another day now, so thank you.
You will be fighting under a board of equalization.
So I will send you an email tomorrow, letting you know that it was approved, obviously, and I will send you the application, and then you will apply to the Board of Equalization, and you will come before them again. So. Yeah, so I'll email you in the morning. Okay, you have another one. This one is from Chase Hansen.
I could make this one.
And he's stating that the reason he wants this approved is because the issue arose after the deadline, and he has quite a bit of writing on his as well.
Yeah, from what I understood on this one, he had variables, and there is quite a difference. So I don't know what that difference is, because I don't know size of homes and things like that. But
So how did it arise after the fact? Just because you didn't know the dollar amount till after the fact, or
talk to his neighbors?
She says neighbors.
Can you talk in the mic?
Sorry, I'm just the clerk that takes the paperwork. I don't know all the.
And I have which one?
Well, you may as well stand up.
This
There's
is
a couple for a
Chase.
minute.
I don't know all of these.
Sorry,
you guys.
this
I'm
is
sorry.
Hanson. 90, 71, 29.
Sorry, I'm just gonna. Because I'm pretty
So it
sure
looks
that
like
we
it's near
have.
Escalante.
So what happened is we said that we did fix him to a primary. We have already fixed the home to make it as we did it in Board of Equalization as a factual error. We just said that we would give him the primary because he had non-primary. So he had I kind of did him a good one and tried to help him out there. And so he ended up getting primary on the home. And now what he's trying to do is go back and say, well, I want my value changed.
Okay, so he already went through the BOE process, and it was his
Well,
request
and we just
was
made it as a
change of
factual error
primary,
to
secondary.
say, yeah, because he was right in that window, and we said, we'll basically help you out here. We'll put it as primary, and so I did make that correction, which hindsight I probably shouldn't have, but that's okay. And so we did change it, and so what I did is just said this is what it is, and that we changed it to the primary, and now he's coming back and saying that the value needs to be changed.
So they had the valuation though when you changed it to primary.
Correct.
And the value hasn't changed since that.
The value didn't change. I just changed it from non-primary to primary.
Well, and I think it's also important to point out that yes, you might find another home that might be valued less, but that might just be because that home hasn't been reassessed
Right.
in the last few years.
Where there's some
And when
little
it does get
slight
reassessed,
differences,
it
right?
will probably end up
Mhm.
in that
And
same
every home is a little different, so they don't come in just because we make exactly. Some of them are just a little off on acreage. I mean, it can be a lot of different things. You know, it can be they decided that they wanted to finish their basement, and then there's someone that doesn't have a basement. It just depends on the home and how it's valued. And so,
But we're not looking at value tonight. We're just looking at if they qualify under one
correct.
of the reasons.
And
for
you
the
do
late-
have to remember, you know, September 15th is the deadline. Every year, September 15th is the deadline for the Board of Equalization. So they have 45 plus days to take care of this. Now we're here at late appeal. So now that's something to kind of be considered as well. Is there one of those four extreming, you know,
Can you swing that back down?
extending circumstances?
So was there a mistake
Just
in the size?
No, there's not a mistake in the size. We do have
right
the,
there.
we have whatever is given to us too with the building permits. That's what we use to be able to value the square footage as well. And then when we're out into, we're able to look at those.
I'm not seeing any that they meet any of these exceptions.
Yeah, that was going to be my question is, I mean, is he saying that a factual error is it's assessed improperly? Is that what he's trying to say?
Yes.
That's not really,
That's not a factual
I would say
error.
that's a factual error. That would be, you know.
He's gonna have to have it raised if he wants to. But even there, it's not factual error and it's not against.
Well, and even with an appraisal, that's one thing that we ask as the assessor's office, because Utah is a non-disclosure state. Well, a lot of times we don't get the value of what they're, you know, like their closing documents and stuff. So that has to be given to us by them. Voluntarily, yes, correct. Or we go through the MLS listing, the multiple service listing, to find verified sales.
Leslie, that parcel number's not pulling. Ah.
Oh, okay.
So it
Was
changed the
this
parcel
the-
number?
Man that was saying the builder submitted the wrong plans?
The blueprints, yes.
So is that true? So it was overvalued in square footage?
One of the things too that we actually have to reassess as well, but we did not realize, which was never given to us. I mean, but there was two in the Rome subdivision. There were two different builders that were building, and they say one of them is lower, not even lower class. Maybe just that they were built, a little more economically. And so we're going to go look through those because we have valued them all the same. I don't really see that there's a big difference in them, but there maybe is some slight differences. So we are going to reevaluate this in 2026 year to just make sure where our numbers are. And if we have like a certain builder to another builder that's in that same subdivision, if there's some differences, then we can adjust. But a lot of them are a lot of like inside features that they're talking about. And we really don't focus on those. Sometimes, you know, if they are kind of an overbuild, we're not actually assessing them. We're more assessing how many bathrooms do you have? What are your fixtures? You know, we don't really care whether it's all wood or if someone used steel in their stairs. You know, we're looking at some structures, but that's not really a big driver.
But his square footage is correct.
So what we have the information, we do have the square footage correct. So from the information that we have.
From the blueprints or that were submitted by the builder? Or?
Well, we go out to the homes too, and we you know, do a tape to be able to verify that our square footage is similar, you know, and there's things that we can adjust. But yeah, if he wants to make sure, I mean, that can be done anytime too for the next year if we need to adjust those. So it's just really whatever you guys decide. So
Thanks.
Any other questions? I'll look for a motion.
To deny CR 262502-BOE late appeal request. Chase hands.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Fackrell
I'll second that.
and a second by Commissioner Nickerson. All in favor? Aye. Are there any opposed? Okay,
Your last one will be from Levi Harper. His is a non-primary residential exemption issue. He marked a factual error also.
So why is he coming to us now so late after his taxes came? You know?
Because I think they're receiving their tax notice and seeing.
But wouldn't they have noticed that when they paid the bill?
no, this
It was
happened to
paid
my
by-
son. I mean,
By escrow.
you have to know what you're looking for to see, you know, so.
Well, I can agree with this one. Just because he did the stuff he had to, and even from the county, he did everything up on June 22nd and thought he was all okay. I think that's our factual error, that we did not tell him correctly, that he was being taken care of in 2025 for that 2025 year. So, in my opinion, he should probably get the Board of Appeal.
Okay, so you think we should open it then? Okay.
But that's
well-
just me.
Well,
For the rest of
if you make an motion, we'll see what, if anyone else agrees.
Is there any other questions beforehand? But otherwise, my motion could stand if you want. It
I
wasn't
just,
really a motion.
I mean, I'm just looking through this, if I may. So it's, when I see the late field request, it says for the 25 property tax assessment. But we're actually looking at the 24. I just want to make sure I'm reading this thing right.
I don't want to sway anything, so
No,
this
I
is
just
what
wanna
it
make
is,
sure I'm
okay?
reading the application
May 22nd, Janelle has her assessment into the state auditor, right? She's going to the auditor now, I mean, the county auditor. So May 22nd is my deadline that I have to have assumptions of what everyone is. We do try and send out primary residential exemptions when we know about them at the very beginning of the year until May 22nd. This was not fulfilled or filled out until June. Okay, so what happened was we said, hey, just so you know, if you're going to do this, you're going to need to do the Board of Equalization. You have till September 15th to make that decision. So there is an email that Holly has sent to them that said this will be for the 2026 year unless you go through the Board of Equalization. That didn't happen, and now he's looking at it saying it's not changed to primary. We do have that email that says that it would be for the 2026 year that they would get primary, but it's one of those, this primary residential exemption is a really hard space. Number one, it's a state law that the taxpayer is the one that has to sign the paperwork. And they have to basically declare whether they're going to be a primary residence or not. They have to live in the home 183 consecutive days. So think about that as well, because you have to live in that home for 183 consecutive days to be able to qualify for that. So we do have evidence on this one saying, we did have an email saying it's going to be for 26, but that is something that, if you want to open it up, you're more than welcome to, and we can look through it again and double check everything. But it is a hard thing, and it's something that I hope more people are starting to understand, that you do need to declare what your intentions are on the homes, because I don't know what you're planning on doing, whether it's going to be a rental home or a non-primary home.
I think we made the mistake of this isn't how we've done it in the past, right?
Well, it's been
It's always been assumed that it is.
Correct. So
primary.
Since I have been the assessor, I have tried to get out information, and even on, on the paperwork right here, it even says September 15th.
No, I understand that you've
Yes.
done your job. All I'm just saying is we have
when
made a standard and then we've changed it.
Yes.
And I think
So
it's
since I've
confusing.
been the assessor, that is one thing that we have changed because of all of the builds that are non-primary. So you can't live in a building that is not livable yet. So a lot of these new homes they're at non-primary until stated otherwise. So they do have to declare it. If it was my space, I would say that everyone needs to do a primary residential exemption every year. But that's not what my space is. So, because it really does need to be declared, and it is a hard space to understand what people's intentions are. A lot of times I guess that people will start renting their home, things like that. So there's lots of things that we had to think about. But yes, previously everything was primary, and then we basically had to reach out to the ones that were non-primary. So now we've changed that thought process of you have to declare whether you're primary or not.
So
Is that just for our county, or is that per state codes?
It is state. It is state code. It is state. I mean, the primary residential exemption is state code.
I mean, the way we do it.
And the way we do it, there's a lot to
per
do.
state code.
Yes.
It's not code, but
It's
we
not.
choose what we
It's
do.
called a
Choose which
standard of practice, is what
Say,
it's
when I
called.
moved in here, I didn't have to declare.
Yeah, and you know what? The funny thing is, everyone says that, but everyone has signed a paper. So when you come back, if you want to come into my office and see if you've actually declared whether you have a primary or not, more than likely we have that signed up, because we have been going through and finding all the ones that are old and sending them new primary residential exemptions to say, we don't have this one on file. And there's very few, but a lot of people, when they come into their house and they move into Morgan, they're like, I've never signed that paper. And then we pull it up and it's like, oh, look, you did. You signed that paper.
Is that something that the title company sometimes does?
I've actually started talking with our realtors and our title companies, because I think it's an important thing for them to be notifying these people that are coming in, and when they're buying new homes and stuff, a lot of people are even from out of state that we're starting to see, and they don't know what our state codes and state laws are. And so it's something that this is one of my nemesis is the primary residential exemption, because it's a hard place to be to make that. But I have to make a decision May 22nd. So
my
your son.
No, I don't think it hurts to open it, let them look at it, and if they want to appeal it to the state, they can appeal it to the state. Because I think it's right there.
And I know one thing, I spoke with Janelle, we've talked quite a bit about this, and like one of the issues was when people purchase a home and you've got a stack of papers in there, you don't know what you're signing, you just want to move into your home, is to make sure they're adding that to those documents. But also on the new builds, is there something we can do working with, when these people are, your son goes to build a new home, part of the application process, is there a button there? Okay, this is gonna be my primary, let's get that filled out now, so when it gets to Janelle, it's already there even with a brand new construction. So we've talked about that, and how do we work with the planning department? So just make this easy for the people, that it's not, you know, you're filling out your permit application. Well, you click on that and you fill it out right there with your permit application, so that when it all winds up to the assessor with their occupancy, the form is already signed, it's already been done. You know, they don't get caught in the excitement of building my first home, those kind of things. I did have a question, Janelle. So 183 days, so if somebody purchases a home, September, moves in, do they obviously don't get that exemption for that property because they're only there for 4 months?
Unless the other residence was there.
Unless it was
as
their
a
primary, then they qualify through
Then they
their
would
primary for
qualify.
that additional time. Okay.
But like on a home that they build and
Yep.
they occupy it on
If
July
it was a new
30th, then it's
construction, they're
not.
only there for 4 months.
So there's a couple things that are going with that, especially with the new build. Our lien date is January 1st of every year. So a lot of times they're building that house and January 1st they're maybe at 30%, right? So then they're non-primary because their house isn't occupied yet. So they're like, well, my house says non-primary because it's non-primary come November and they are living in it in September. Well, at January 1st, your house was at 30%, so we took a percentage of that and said, this is what it is non-primary, that's what you're gonna pay, and then next year, we put it as primary at full value. So one thing that we've also been working on is once people's homes are around that 50% mark, we're trying to make sure like, hey, this is not junk mail, you gotta sign it. So that's one thing that we've really been working on as well, trying to get them to sign the document before it gets to 100%.
Thanks, Janelle.
Any other questions? Okay.
I move to approve to have the CR 26-2503-BOE late appeal request to be opened up.
I have a motion by Commissioner Fackrell. Second.
I'll second it.
Second by Commissioner Blocker. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Motion carries.
Mr. Chair, I move we adjourn the BOE meeting and reconvene the public commission meeting.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Newton and a second by Commissioner Fackrell. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we are now back in commission meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good evening to the County Commission. Action item G4 on your agenda for tonight is for the LDS Mountain Green Cottonwood Canyon Road subdivision first amended. That's application number 24.067. The applicant is Samuel Perry of Perry, Curtin and McConkey law firm. The owner is the Corporation of Presiding Bishop of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The project location is 4210 West Cottonwood Canyon Road and identified by the parcel number and serial number in your meeting packet tonight, Mr. Chair. The zoning is split overwhelmingly R120 with a split designation of the agriculture A20 zoning, with the acreage being 28.97 acres. And the request is for a lot line adjustment to lot 4 of the LDS Mountain Green Cottonwood Canyon Road subdivision. Some detail for you, Mr. Chair. The acreage of lot 4 will receive approximately about half an acre from the neighboring property owner to the north of the line in the subdivision. The acreage for lot 4 would increase from 28.97 acres to 29.47 acres. The line itself, the lot line is moving approximately 42 feet to the north. So staff doesn't find that this is a plat amendment that doesn't meet the intent of our code. It's been reviewed by the planning staff, county surveyor, the Mountain Green Fire Protection District, the county recorder, and the county engineer, all providing recommendations for approval and finding that this meets staff finds that we can recommend approval of this application. The utilities are provided by the Cottonwood Mutual Water Company and the Mountain Green Sewer Improvement District. The Planning Commission heard this item on their regularly scheduled meeting on December 11. There were no comments made during the public meeting portion, nor was there much discussion from the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission voted to recommend approval to the County Commission with a vote of 4-0. Chair Maloney abstained from voting. It made its way into the motion that perhaps this should be more of a boundary line adjustment. Mr. Chair, staff has looked into our code and find no mentions of boundary line adjustments in our code. This is more like a lot line adjustment as defined in the county ordinance. Otherwise, Josh and I are happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Jeremy, so is the lot line adjustment right where that arrow is?
It's right here.
Oh, it's over there.
If you go to the next exhibit, the one after true, it's, yeah. All right. So this dotted line, it doesn't show up too much on the blur, but that's the line to be vacated. And then the new solid line above that is what I was mentioning, moving approximately 42 feet to the north, approximately half an acre for the new toll.
So are they purchasing it from him, or is it just it was surveyed incorrectly?
I don't know the answer to that.
Guess it doesn't matter.
I spoke to the attorney for the applicant last week. My understanding is that there's just some adjustment between the property owners. I don't know if money was exchanged, but the two property owners are working to adjust the boundaries.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, if not, I'll look for a motion.
Chair, I will move that we approve the request for a lot line adjustment to lots. I'll just read this. I move we approve the LDS Mountain Green Cottonwood Canyon Road subdivision first amended application number 24.067, allowing for a lot line adjustment located at 4210 West Cottonwood Canyon Road in unincorporated Morgan County, based on the findings and with the conditions listed in the staff report dated January 6, 2026.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Blocker and a second by Commissioner Fackrell. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Just for your information, I just looked at it on the plat, or on the GIS, and it looks like there's a fence, an existing fence on the new lot line, if that makes sense. So it looks like that property was already assumed to be part of the applicant's property. Yeah, kind of handy.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Action item G5 is the Cottonwood Springview PUD third plat amendment. That's application number 25.028. The applicant is Jeff Holden, who owns two lots in this subdivision addressed at 6348 and 6358 South Wasatch Back Drive, identified by the parcel numbers and serial numbers in your meeting packet tonight. The current zoning is rural residential 1 and is governed by a development agreement, the Cottonwoods Development Agreement. The acreage combined of the two lots is 1.23 acres. And the request for tonight, Mr. Chair, is for a lot line adjustment between the boundaries of lot 710 and 711 of the Cottonwood Springview A PUD subdivision. And again, some details about the change.
So combining the two lots, correct?
Well, they're separate lots and the line between them is
Making
changing.
an L shape.
Yeah, it's an L shape.
Kind of a flag lot.
Not exactly a flag lot. They have the required amount of frontage. All right, the current line goes through and just splits the property. The proposal is to make that L shape.
Yeah, I have a question on that, if I may. What is the zoning there?
It's R1 underlying,
R1,
but it's
okay.
got a development agreement.
But you're a PUD, so they have open space, so they have smaller lots.
Well, but what my concern is if it's an R1,
You can't look at it as an RR1 because the development agreement
There's an
controls.
overlay.
Yeah, staff, when this was first brought to us, we combed through the development agreement, the overlay agreement, and the PRUD ordinance, because all three documents control the development of the cottonwoods. It gets kind of confusing. Nowhere in any of those documents does it list a minimum lot size. It lists minimum housing sizes, things like that, building envelopes. The reason I saw this and I determined that it met the minimum size is because within that phase, there are lots that are smaller than that. So as far as staff is concerned, the sizes of the lots meet the zoning because it doesn't reduce it any smaller than existing lots already in that phase.
so on this,
Not adding any lots either, right?
No, it's just
it's
moving
not
the lot
adding
line.
anything, but with that addition now that they're putting this L-shaped one in there, does that allow them to come back in and say, oh, I want 2 lots now out of that?
No. Correct. They wouldn't have the frontage. Technically, they could put an accessory dwelling unit back there, but they can't sell that separately, and it can't be used as a short-term rental.
Okay.
Okay. That's helpful.
That is.
Other questions?
No, we can make a motion. if you
Okay.
want.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chair, I move that we approve the Cottonwood View PUD third plat amendment application number 25.028, allowing for a lot line adjustment located at 6348 and 6358 South Wasatch Back Drive in unincorporated Morgan County based on the findings and with the conditions listed in the staff report dated January 6, 2026.
Second the motion.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Blocker and a second by Commissioner Newton. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Okay, Honorable Raylene Blocker.
Honorable. Okay, I would like to nominate Travis Taylor to the Mountain Green seat for the Morgan County Planning Commission. You met him before. He was one of the applicants that came and interviewed here for the at-large seat. Travis Taylor, if you've read his application.
Yeah, looks like he's well qualified.
He's very well qualified, so I am nominating Travis Taylor.
Is that your motion?
Do I make a motion?
Yeah.
It's a
Okay.
nomination, does it have to be a motion?
Yeah, it's a motion to accept the resolution.
Okay, I move that we accept resolution CR 26-05, appointing Travis Taylor to the Morgan County Planning Commission.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Blocker and a second by Commissioner Newton. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
That was
Okay,
approved.
motion carries.
That was an approved, not a, that may.
Yeah,
You.
this is your indigent, but you never sent me like a contract.
Well, so we're going to work out the details of the contract to match the RFQ. So I was kind of involved. It's a little. I didn't want there to be a perceived conflict of me being on the selection committee, so I wanted to stay away from the submissions. But as far as drafting the RFQ to say this is what the county needs for indigent defense in the county, I did draft that. There was a submission, and my understanding is that the selection committee was forwarding a recommendation of Colton McKay. And so I'm just looking for the commission to approve the selection committee's recommendation and some direction to draft an agreement in line with the RFQ that I'll bring back at the next meeting.
So why would you need an RFQ after we've gone through and?
No, he's saying
I'll draft
he's
a
gonna draft
contract.
the contract around the
Yeah,
RFQ.
based on
The
the
RFQ.
terms within the RFQ, so it won't be something opposed to what we've already put out. I'm not gonna bring something that's surprising. It'll match what we've asked them to submit for.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the award of the RFQ for Public Defender Indigent Defense Services to Colton McKay, and ask the county attorney to proceed with putting together an agreement for that service.
I'll second it.
I have a motion by Commissioner Newton and a second by Commissioner Fackrell. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries.
I did put a copy of the existing portfolio on your desks if you guys wanted to scribble. The only thing I am requesting based on attendance is that we swap a recommendation to COG for the JPAC, Joint Policy Advisory Committee, making Raylene Blocker the primary instead of the alternate.
So I have a question on that.
Okay.
Who was the primary on that?
Steve Gale.
Oh, okay. I was wondering about, should we maybe change a lot of these things that are with the WFRC instead of being alternates on it? If the city's not gonna perform their duties and do what they wanted to do, should we be changing it back to us since we are going to those things? Or when we have been going to them?
That's really the only one that
That's
hasn't been shown.
except for regional growth, and Blaine is the alternate on that. Tony London is with the city, is the primary, and
Yeah,
he
I've
never
never seen him
attended.
there.
Yeah. So we could flop that
You
one
can
as
change,
well.
I think we ought to
a
then.
suggestion on that if you will.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that.
And then CEO, I'm not voting anymore, right?
Right.
It should be non-voting.
Okay.
Maybe the same with TTEP too.
Okay.
We haven't. What's TTEP? ATEP.
Regional growth is gonna be primary, and Blocker on JPAC is gonna be primary. Any other adjustments?
Well, I would like to have something else.
Okay,
It's just whether
and
or
we,
not.
and I've talked to council on that, and just give me a little bit of time on that.
Okay.
Okay?
I move that we approve the portfolio assignments as currently listed with those couple of changes
Which is
for
removing
WFRC.
WFRC and also removing the word voting from CEO and TTAB.
Right.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Newton and a second by Commissioner Nickerson. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
And Mike and I did have a meeting with WFRC the other day, and he said Morgan County definitely shows up and represents, so he's very grateful. Right.
So now we're voting on what we went through today. Is that what I'm understanding here?
Yes, on policies
can
and
change.
procedures.
604. Did anybody have any additional, clear up questions or concerns on the travel policy?
So the first one would, oh, did I put it in the wrong order?
It's just second in, under action item 8.
Oh, okay. Oh, good grief, I skipped a whole number. Good work out of you, Kate. So rules and procedures, we're adding, per the work session, and per Commissioner Fackrell's recommendation in subsection 6, which is the closed meeting, one we're gonna clean up, how that lays out on the paper, and also add and pursuant to any, and any other pursuant to Utah Code annotated. Should there be any, what was that, it as far as amendments? Oh,
I
wait,
think
and
under
then,
number 11, you 11.2B
There it
or
is.
C.
Are subject to
A,
removal
there's only
instead
two.
of shall be removed by the sheriff at the direction of the
Yeah,
chair.
subject to removal. Yep.
And those are the two amendments that were brought up. Were there any additional? Okay.
And then we'll just update under Rule 16.5, where it says a copy of the latest edition of the Rules of Order and Procedure Resolution, and then we'll just name it CR 26, whatever, shall be available to each member of the commission.
Okay. I'm assuming you would like that digitally? Or
So
want
do
it in
you,
paper?
Mike, did you say the CR number in the last one, last motion?
Oh, for portfolio?
Oh, no, I can do that if you want.
Why don't you? Just.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I move that we approve CR 26-02, appointment of the 2026 Commission Portfolio Assignments.
As amended.
As amended in this evening's meeting.
You want to do the second again? Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Newton and a second by Commissioner Nickerson. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So we're recalling this 8B.
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, 8B.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve CR 26-03, establishing the Morgan County Commission Rules of Order and Procedure for 2026, including the amendments made this evening during the work session.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Newton and a second by Commissioner Nickerson. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, amendments to the travel policy that were discussed is at the end of authorization. Oh, sorry, it helps if I move to the document. At the end of this travel authorization and responsibility, adding and placed on consent agenda for in reference to out-of-state travel. We are removing and lodging from county administrator shall book. We're adding language that fleet, use of the county fleet takes priority over mileage reimbursement. And we are adding in the reimbursement section, there we go, language to include Uber, Lyft, taxi, etc. I think those are my only notes. Am I miss anything else?
Anything else that she's missing? Remember?
So you're gonna put Uber, Lyft, and
I'm gonna put
taxi.
rideshare apps and
Okay.
taxi and or taxi, yeah.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve CR 26-04, amending the Morgan County travel expense policy with the changes discussed this evening.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Nickerson and a second by Commissioner Fackrell. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion is unanimous.
On the next one, as some of you got text messages, I registered Commissioner Fackrell, Commissioner Blocker, and Commissioner Nickerson to UAC Day on the Hill yesterday. It is my understanding from your text that Commissioner Newton and Commissioner Wilson will not be attending. Is that accurate?
I will be out of town.
Okay.
Correct. I'll be out of
Egypt.
He's painting the pyramids.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm gonna be hiding behind my wife.
And Chair, the next two items were postponed to this meeting, and neither item is ready to be addressed at this time, and we are requesting an additional postponement.
Mr. Chair, I move that we postpone items 11 and 12 to our next meeting.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Newton and a second by Commissioner Nickerson. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Are there any opposed?
And I just have a few quick updates. No, we have not selected a fire chief. In the interim, Emergency Management Director and Deputy Chief Ambulance Director, Erica White, has stepped in full stress and is doing phenomenal, and we're very grateful that she's taking that on. We do have interviews this week, and we're hoping to select a candidate sooner rather than later. We also have interviews this week for the Deputy Fire Chief / Fire Marshal position. In the interim, Chris Tremea is certified to do those fire marshal inspections, and he is going to be our interim for that until we get that.
So what about his other job?
He's going to do it as essentially, I guess, comp time, but the comp time will be billed to that budget line item.
Okay.
How are we compensating Erica for extra?
To be determined.
Okay.
So the hard part with her is 60% of her pay and all of her benefits are emergency management, and 40% of her pay is from ambulance. So we're still trying to figure out if we're gonna lump sum it, but we're having her track those additional hours. But they've both stepped up and been absolutely amazing.
And she can't qualify for the,
She cannot, no.
is there an exception in that to where she can work towards that?
It would take several years to get the certifications that she would need.
Okay.
But yeah. I don't know if either of you are gonna talk about it in your commission comment, then.
You can.
We had a meeting yesterday with Summit County.
We found out that their manager has a much larger budget
Oh
that
my
he can
gosh.
approve.
And a ridiculously long leash, it sounds like.
Yeah.
So what they're saying is, part of the issue we brought up is this 37.3 acres that were purchased in the fall of last year that were outside the 910 cattle ranch, which technically is landlocked within 910, but it was a different property owner. Their commission didn't even know that they had bought that because their county manager has like leeway to spend up to like $3 million without approval. To which I looked at Matt and Vaughn and was like, hey, and they're
I
like,
think
we
it
don't
was
have that kind of money.
500,000, but
It was a lot.
sounds bad.
So,
It's
continue and then I'll
So,
ask a question.
Land without the commission even knowing. To me, that's just,
So the sticking point,
Problem with their
obviously,
counsel.
for what the commission has passed on to me and what we discussed, the sticking point obviously was that we're gonna have another county owning a large sum of acreage in our county. It turns out that the purchase agreement is deed restricted, that it has to be one owner. And so the compromise that we have come up with, and the attorneys are gonna work together to draft an MOU. Actually, I'll just pull up the email because it was very well written by Jessica.
one owner could be an entity
I hear
that consists of two counties, Summit County.
So this is what we agreed to, putting in an MOU. I want it to be deed restricted, that they cannot annex without our permission. We are going to put in the MOU so it's clear as day, the law enforcement portion of this is theirs, this is ours. We're not sharing jurisdiction. Summit County, we're going to require them to do a payment in lieu of tax. And what that means is if right now they're paying $1,643.18 in property taxes, they're going to pay $1,643.18 in property taxes in perpetuity. So we'll at least get some taxes off that. They will be paying Greenbelt rollback on all of that ground. They pushed back on that, and actually their attorney said, actually that's in the agreement, is they would have to pay Greenbelt. So they're actually going to have to pay Greenbelt
And
to
that's for the
themselves.
whole thing, not just the 37 acres?
Not the 37 acres, because the 37
1,800.
acres was never in Greenbelt, but the 1,800, yes.
Okay.
They have to notice us of any future land acquisition. They said it's not their intention to purchase any more property in Morgan County because they're already working on another 838 acre purchase towards Camas. I know. But in the
Aside from there's at least one more strip of a.
Want to become their own state?
So there is one more strip of the 910. It's like literally almost a easement.
Like an easement that
that-
they're trying to purchase.
that they
so
are in
it's
negotiation
one
of purchasing.
contiguous parcel, same as the 37.3 acres. They wanted it all.
So they asked me if it was okay if they purchased that, and I said, again, not the governing body of the county, so you will have to make that request to the commission. So
And if we
those,
say no, what happens?
I think it's just advance notice. I don't think we can
It's,
say
we
no.
can't say no. They can buy in our county.
I'm glad
Um,
Mike Schultz is on our side.
The other thing we discussed is right now it is not their intent to have an access on the west side of that property, being the Morgan County side. However, it is in their future plan to do a trail around the full perimeter of the property. So we also requested that should an access be created onto the property on the Morgan County side, that we come back to the table and discuss what that would cost us in road maintenance, because since it's not a state park, we won't qualify for the access improvement grant. It would be their property, but since them turning this property into God knows what in 50 years, that's a lot of depreciation on our roads. So that was discussed as well. They did give us paper copies of a giant binder of paper copies of literally everything that I have not dug into. And we reiterated the importance of us having a seat at the table. That got a lot of pushback, mainly from their county manager and their chair. I think more because they were thinking our seat at the table was, well, we want a trail here, and we want a fish pond here, and we want an education center here. But instead it's like, hey, it's it's on our county ground. Like, we want a seat at the table. If you're gonna put in a water park and the access is coming off Morgan County, yeah, like, we need a seat at the table, because that's gonna cost us a lot. So I think,
Did they
Mike,
agree
you
to
would
that?
know for sure, because I was confused. Is that a county or state road?
Jeremy Ranch,
That's actually
That's
private,
county.
it's private road.
private road that's maintained by the county.
That's right. And
Historically.
so-
No, wait a minute. Hold up. It's not a private road.
It's not.
No. It's on private property currently, but because it's been maintained by the county for so long, it's now a public road. It's
Oh,
a public
kinda like-
right of way.
Right, it's a public right
I mean,
of
the
way.
same
I
thing
agree
exists
with
throughout
you.
all of our county where, I mean, I own half of the road in front of my house because
Right.
it's never been deeded out. That road hasn't been deeded out, but it's a public road
Oh,
because
okay.
it's been maintained
That's
by the
correct.
public. It's like Deep Creek
That's
Road,
correct.
right?
Deep
It's
Creek,
the same
okay.
situation.
Okay, then
It's been
I
maintained by
misspoke.
us for all this time. We grade it every year, and yes, it's not paved, but we maintain our
Right.
portion
But
of
we
that
don't
road.
have a written easement,
We have
It's
just like Deep
prescriptive,
Creek,
isn't
we
it?
don't have.
Yeah,
It's
whether
just,
it's
it's a
a-
historical use.
It's a 10-year under the statute, and so it's
Okay.
been
So it's not
maintained.
like a landowner up there couldn't go and put a gate in it and say, this is our road now.
Okay.
But we did put one in ourselves.
We can put a gate as
Yes.
a public and close off a public road,
Right, which
Is
we
that
did.
but a
was-
landowner can't do that.
That was another
That
thing
was an
that
issue
got
they
brought
were
up on
trying
the
to do.
road is, well, if you intend that to be a main access, we don't plow it. So
So what are you gonna
if
do?
you need us to plow it, we're gonna need an MOU, just like we had for the state parks to plow it. So
Or we don't have to plow it either,
we don't have to, correct?
because right now
Because
we
we don't
have
have
it to
them
where we
dragging.
do not plow it. Right now, we do not plow it because there's a gate there that we put in as a county. So therefore, we don't need to plow that, but it is ours, we maintain it and all that other stuff.
I just wanted to understand that.
Yeah, no, it's a public right of way. I mean, it's been used as an easement for, I mean, probably well over
It's been
100
over
years,
50
not
years.
just, and I think I think you only have to do it for like 20 years before,
10.
or is it 10?
It probably predates
Open and
the
notorious
s-
use for 10
the
years.
statute.
Yeah.
Plus, we
So-
repaired it during the floods of '83. We repaired it,
Well, how did
and then another
Trappers,
year
the old Trappers Loop get shut down? Yeah,
It was deeded back.
deeded back.
that's too
Now, I don't know if it was ever,
I don't
I
know
mean,
if it was.
I don't know if
formally
it was
done.
actually deeded out in the first place, or if it was just the right of way was given back, but it was given back.
Yeah, Weaver
as
County
part of the
kept
deal.
theirs. But Weaver County kept theirs, so what happened to ours? Why did we?
I don't know.
And
Somebody-
that's something.
Back a lot of stuff in those couple of years, including the Pioneer Trail.
That's too bad.
It was a poor decision.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So that's all I have.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
back
And
with
thank-
that.
Thanks for the work on that, because that was a little bit of stress
So-
thinking about how that was gonna all work out. I felt like it was positive, as I think they did too, after there was a little friction there.
So the tax though, I have a question on that. When you say it's in perpetuity at that rate, what happens if inflation doubles?
So it's called a conservation pilt, and that's what it is it locks it. So I'll get with you more offline, but
Okay.
a conservation pilt locks it at the value that it is at the time it becomes exempt from valuation taxation. So
Talk later. Okay, so then as far as that, then there's 1,800 acres then, and that 37 is what they bought also.
they correct, but that
was
Separate
private.
transaction.
separate transaction, it's already closed.
It's all within one.
It will be, they have not closed yet.
And there's one other little sliver that attaches in the same area right there.
But yet there will not be any public access to it, or will there be?
So that was another
that's another
misunderstanding. When they said it's private, what they meant is it's not closed yet, and therefore it's still private property.
So people need to stay off.
So
of it
people need to
still.
stay off of it.
Till they
Till it
close,
becomes, okay.
It's still private.
but it will be public property.
Okay, so public can go up there and hike.
And
Correct.
They did say there will be sections that are, they're working with DNR and whatnot, areas that are vital to the wildlife that will be closed to public access to protect the wildlife. And kind of like they do up by Strawberry where, when the
When they're
the elk are
calving.
having calves and all that, they'll close areas down to protect the wildlife. They,
But yet they're
but
not
they
gonna
don't
allow-
know what that is yet.
But they're not gonna allow any hunting.
That's
Well, that
deed
was
restricted.
That's part of the deed restriction.
That was by the seller, said absolutely no hunting or you're not buying it. So that was a deed restricted use.
Okay. It's too bad.
All right.
And who's gonna just a second.
Anything for us?
Yes, yesterday I was able to attend the inaugural ceremony for the new Second District Veterans Court, which will service Weber, Morgan, and Davis counties. It makes sense that we finally get a veterans court having Hill Air Force Base up here. Before, veterans would have to go down to the Salt Lake or Provo. But what a great program. I was very impressed. Jenny Wilson gave a heart-compelling speech. Judge Craig Hall explained the whole program, and Governor Cox also spoke about giving veterans, when they're in the field, they have purpose, identity, and community, but when they come home, sometimes they lose that. And so this particular court is geared towards those that have drug offenses or criminal offenses, and they're given the opportunity to come to this court. It's not a traditional court where there's a prosecutor and a defender. More, they're given a mentor who's also a veteran and who helps them through things. And then they graduate this court anywhere from 18 to 24 months. And hopefully they find their purpose, identity, and community again. So
That's awesome.
really great program.
I would love a point of contact on that if you have one.
Craig, yeah, Judge Craig Hall.
Oh, yeah.
He's one of the men spearing it up.
Because there is a veterans app for our generation and the like 9/11 generation that a lot of people don't know about. It's not very active in Utah, but it's essentially that's what that is we're taught Army of One, like you handle your own business. You don't drag people when you're having mental health crisis, but this app allows you to go on it at any time. There's a group getting together for coffee or doing puzzles or a board game night, and so you can voluntarily go instead of feeling like you're imposing on somebody's time by needing camaraderie.
That's awesome.
And it's called Team RWB, Red, White, and Blue. Team RWB app.
I wonder if they know about that.
That's what
Their
I was gonna-
hope is
I was gonna find
that
out.
they use their mentor in that way. Like if they need someone at 1 a.m, they'll call their mentor because they need someone.
But that's the hard part is we suck at reaching out.
Right.
So especially if we feel like we're gonna bother somebody.
So is
That's
it
awesome.
Team R?
Team RWB, and RWB stands for Red, White, Blue. But it's an app.
.org?
No, it's an it's only an app, and it's got 24/7 programs. Like you could do yoga There's live yoga at 2 a.m., there's fitness challenges, but then there's also stuff like when I was in Kansas City, we had a group that on holidays, when there's not a lot of people visiting the veterans home, we would go to the veterans home and we would take them out in their wheelchairs and do wheelchair races in the parking garage. So
I asked Judge Hall how Morgan County can be of service, and he said he would get to us, but he just mentioned funding, prosecutors, defenders. I don't know, he wasn't 100% sure, so.
Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Newton?
The only thing I had, and I don't know if we want to make any changes surrounding this, but March 17th, which is our second meeting in March, that's the night of the caucus meetings here in the county.
Oh. The Republican caucus or all caucus?
I don't know if it's all or just Republican.
Didn't they tell us April 25th?
Yeah, it's Republican, I know that. Oh, well then maybe they've changed it, because I got the notice that it was 17th. Okay, then maybe it doesn't matter. We'll confirm that, I guess.
Okay.
Okay.
And I'm gonna make a note. Yesterday,
So is it Democrat that's March 17th?
I think so.
On the other one, okay. Cool. That's all I had that I wanted to bring up.
Okay, Commissioner Fackrell?
I just have two requests that we consider in our planning departments or as a code amendment, and to have an ag zoning for smaller packages, properties like an A5 or A10, instead of forcing people to go to an RR2 or an RR4 or whatever it might be. Because there's some people that have requested to me that, I mean, all they want to do is separate a lot, and they want to give they want to sell the portion to one of their kids, and the other portion they want to keep for themselves for an agricultural piece of ground, and that's all they want. But once you turn it to an RR2, then it becomes a lot, and they don't want to turn it into a lot. They don't want to build on it. They don't want any of that stuff, and they don't want that. So I would like to see us do some kind of a code amendment.
So if you subdivide, regardless, you turn it into a lot, whether it's a 20-acre lot or a 2-acre lot or a 500 square foot lot. So changing it to have an agricultural zoning wouldn't accomplish what you're thinking.
Why wouldn't it?
Because there's no difference between RR5 or A20 other than the uses.
Okay, so what are those uses then different?
Well, residential is allowed in all of them, but you can go look at the table to see the uses. But,
Yeah, I
but
mean,
what you're thinking, I think, could be accomplished, but not by simply saying we want an ag 5 or an ag 2-acre lot. You'd have to do something totally different than that.
And so
That's
what
not
would
how
you
our
do?
code reads.
Because I mean, they were told that they had to basically put it into an RR2, and
Because
it's
there's
6
nothing
acres.
smaller than A20 under the ag section, but to be clear, just because it's ag versus residential doesn't change the use, other than there's some more, I would say, harsh uses under ag that aren't allowed under residential. That's the difference.
So will it help them or not? I mean, because
No,
I mean,
unless
because if they want to put a house on an RR2, they can actually put in 2 homes on it, or 3 homes on that if it's an RR2. And all
well,
they
it
wanna
depends
do
on the
is have
size of the property.
6 acres.
Yeah.
So they just want to go and have it to where it stays agriculture until they die.
Well, they can do ag splits.
Yeah, they
as
can do
well.
just
And so there's ag splits that are restricted from residential use unless you go through the subdivision process.
But if
And-
the intent is to build a house on even one of those, they're gonna have to go through the subdivision process.
That's right.
Okay, I'll tell them that. Then the other thing is I know nobody's brought it up yet, but I know Vaughn and I have talked about it, is the detached accessory dwelling unit code that we put in. We need to go back to that drawing board and look at it, because allowing people to go and put in a humongous house and call the old house their accessory dwelling unit, I think is wrong. That's not the intent we had planned on when we put that into code. And so I'm requesting that we go back and say, okay, the original house is the original house. And when we put in that other code, it was 75% of the size of that original house. Instead of having other homes that, okay, well, this is a 2,000 square foot home, now we're gonna put in a 5,000 or whatever amount, 75% more. And so, because that's the direction it's gone, and I'm worried about that. I'm worried about that with the detached accessory dwelling units. Because then it makes us have two homes, big homes, on a piece of ground that was not our intent, because then we're basically going in right now, and with that, we're saying, okay, we're subdividing our own piece of ground with a detached accessory dwelling unit. And that's not right. We did not want that. We wanted to be able to have a smaller home for somebody to come and be able to assist, or if we had to bring parents in or whatever, to be able to give them a place to live. And because, I mean, we're out of control right now with wanting people to go and continually build and build and build. And I mean, we're looking at properties that are maybe 6 acres, and now they put on 2 big homes on it. It was just became a subdivision, and we're bypassing a subdivision process, and I think and a zoning process. And so I think we need to go, and if we're going to have a detached accessory dwelling unit, we need to be looking at, it can't be any bigger than the primary home. That's my opinion, and I just thought I'd bring it up to you because we haven't done anything about it, and yet homes are being built.
Well, I don't like the idea that they can, I don't really like that they're bypassing.
And maybe I'll just say that they're not bypassing the subdivision process, because if you build a detached accessory dwelling unit, you're not creating a subdivision, because a subdivision, at least under state code and our code, has a specific definition, which means you're creating lots. And that's not happening, but you are creating 2 structures on one parcel that have to be sold together, and that can create problems potential in the future.
Definitely worth looking at,
So yeah,
discussing.
I just want to clarify, it's not subdividing, but it
I'm
is
just saying-
creating
That's right.
the issue that you're talking about, because when you try to sell it, you're selling basically 2 homes, and
It's a loophole.
and it could be different than.
Well, I was going to bring it up as well, so I'm glad Blaine did, but I've had numerous people come to me because there's been, so basically somebody was building a detached AD or detached accessory dwelling unit. And then with the understanding they were going to have to tear down the old home.
Yeah.
Well, once that got passed, they were told, no, that is now the primary. The old home will be your accessory. And so you don't need to tear it down. And they're like, oh, great, now I have a rental. And so I've had the same, and I know Blaine and I have spoken, because I've had several people like, I think this is being abused, where I think I feel what people are saying. It's like basically my home, I can come in and say, well, now I'm just going to build a detached ADU behind my home and rent out the front. And it's like, I think we build that ADU, which is small because it's to give our kids a place to stay while they're trying to get ahead, or our parents to have a place to stay, or something like that. It's not I'm gonna go build a bigger home and then redesignate which one's the primary. And basically the same thing that Blaine is saying is,
Well, the bigger one has to be the primary, as I understand it.
and well, it should, and
It
the
should,
conversation-
because
it
that's
should
how
be-
you're gonna tax.
It should be the original is your primary, not the new bigger one. We're not gonna change the designation of, because I think the way that,
But then the taxes would be,
but they shouldn't, what I'm saying is, if my home right now is 2,000 feet, and the code says that my detached ADU has to be 75%, cannot be more than 75% the size, I can't go build a 5,000 square foot and then reverse the designation.
Gotcha.
So that my ADU must be smaller than your current structure, I think is the concern that people have.
I'm not sure, I mean, playing devil's advocate, I'm not sure it matters. I mean, because you're still, if the intent is to create a place for someone else to potentially live, family or whatever, who cares if they want to live in the existing house and you build a different house? Like, what's the difference? between, I mean, other than you might build a smaller structure, but people build big houses all the time. I don't see any difference. You're still got two families potentially living there.
I think that when you look, I mean,
The neighbor may not like it because they're going to say, well, I didn't like this big house next to me, but that's also, I mean, we don't all get to decide who gets to build what next door. To me, as long as you meet the requirements of setbacks and square footage on the lot, you know, you're not building a house that covers the entire
So I-
lot or whatever, why does it matter?
so I guess the question then is, if the original existing structure doesn't meet our current zoning for setbacks and whatnot,
Then I think you got a problem.
and that's where and
Yes,
that's where
I
I think
agree.
the conversation needs to start.
Both structures have to meet the setback requirements
And
if you're
co-
going
and
to do that.
coverage.
Sure, I
You know.
agree.
That I think you're absolutely right.
Because I know that some, like, you drive by and it's like, that one's like almost on the road because it's been there for 120 years. You know, it's like, so that one doesn't meet, so if you're gonna alter or build a new structure, okay, that one no longer meets the code and you've changed everything with this lot. I mean, if it's back on a 20-acre piece, you know, but if it's like an RR1 along our wonderful tunnel zoning, and that old house is sitting up there on the road, it's within, you know, it doesn't meet our code. So I think that's where I think the conversation's like, what was the intent? And I totally see where you're coming from. It's like, why does it matter?
I mean, I could see a neighbor being upset because they don't like that the next door neighbor built a big house, but at the end of the day,
I think
I don't
one-
know, you know, how is that any different than them coming in and saying, we're going to level both houses and build two new ones, one bigger than the other? It's the same thing, and it would qualify exactly the same way
Yeah, that's true too.
under the current, you know what I mean?
Right.
An ADU is an ADU, and yes, we limited the square footage because the intent was that it's not, you know, a huge structure, and the intent was to provide hopefully some more affordable type housing. But I don't know. And maybe there's something I'm
I
missing
think
with
there's
that.
only a few people that fell into that.
It's
where
probably worth
it
a
was-
discussion.
Yeah.
And I think that's all it is, like, let's look at that code and are there changes that should be made, that shouldn't be made?
There were some people that fell in that interim. I think what you're
Yeah,
saying,
like
that
the-
we're going to tear
That
down
we're
their
planning
house.
on tearing
now
down,
it's
and then
like,
all of a
oh,
sudden,
wait a
like,
minute
never
now.
mind, I don't have to.
Bonus.
And they had, like, all the neighbors were like, they knew that the house had come down. And I was like, no, now I don't have to. And the people were like, what do you mean you don't have to? You know, it's like, wait a minute, dude.
But I would also say, yeah, maybe they don't have to, but as the neighbor, you could build a secondary
do
unit
the
too
same
on your
Yeah.
property if
Yeah,
you
you can do
want.
the
I
same
mean,
thing.
that's your choice.
Yep.
You know,
But I think that's, the thing is just,
seems more like a jealousy problem of people upset that their neighbor's building a bigger house.
It's not a matter, I don't think it is that. I think what it has to do with is, okay, we set up zoning for whether it be RR1 or whatever it might be. We set up that way. Now, if it's on an RR1 zoning and you put in a casita, or not a casita in this case, you put in another home on that RR1, it defeats RR1. Because we didn't want two homes on an RR1. Unless it was two or
By
5
doing an
acres.
ADU, yes, you are having two homes on any of the lots that qualify for an ADU. That, when we put an ADU into place, we agreed that there could be two homes on a lot. Now, the
Right.
difference is you can't subdivide those and sell them separately. They have to be sold together. And I would think as a homeowner, you would also want to be a little careful about that, because if you have two huge houses on a lot, you're going to have a heck of a time selling that down the road, right? That's going to be a problem, because nobody's going to pay you $3 million for a 1 acre lot with two giant houses on it, you know? Well, maybe they will in 10 years, I don't know. But,
And have your
so to
neighbor
me,
right
there's
there.
some,
I just think there's, I mean, I think it just needs to come back, let's look at our code.
Sure.
And just, are there things that,
It's worth looking at and
Let's
having
look
a
at.
discussion.
and so, and I think it's just, you know, we both, I know I have, and I think Blaine have had people come to us and ask us, like, what is going on, what is it? And it just, having the conversation, looking at it, are there issues? Maybe there are, maybe there aren't, you know, so.
So why do you have to then, if you've got a lot that is RR1 and it goes into, I mean, RR1, but yet they've got 10 acres or 8 acres, I don't know what it is, they have that, why can't it just be separated versus having to go into a rezone?
Well, if it's zoned, you don't have to rezone it. If it was all zoned RR1, but you have, say, 7 acres, but it's one parcel, you don't have to rezone it, you just have to subdivide it.
So.
You have to go through
why-
the process of subdividing into individual lots.
Why is this,
Advantages.
and so why is this home, this particular instance that I've had calls on tonight, why is it that they have to go and have it rezoned to RR2?
I don't know the scenario, so I
Because it
can't
was
answer
posted
that
that
for
way
you.
too.
What?
It was posted as a rezone, to have a rezone done for RR2.
This
You
is
guys
the
can
A-
look,
Are
the
you talking
A20
A20?
acre
It's currently
one?
A20?
as far as I understood, it was R1.
If the zoning complies, the zoning complies. You don't have to rezone it if the underlying zoning
It was
is
coming
correct.
before the commission this week, planning commission. So
I don't
if
know.
you wanna look at whatever's on there,
Talk to
look
the
at it.
planning department about that.
Because, I mean, it's been an uproar in my ward and probably yours too. People come to me, go war on that one. So, I'll tell you where it's
2 and
at.
3. We have 1, 2, and 3.
I might know. They might be coming to see me.
Oh,
Okay. Anyway, that's all my comments for now.
All I had was the same, just conversations with people about the ADU thing.
Okay, I don't have anything more. So we'll adjourn.
And you're
As I read today, we don't need to vote on that. No.